It's time for Open Mic. Welcome to the show. I am Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel, joined as always by Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect, and of course, Austin Pastolka, the Sultan of Sound.
Yeah, that's right. The Sultan of Sound is here on a Tuesday, baby. Ready to talk some sports. Ready to have a good time.
Do we have any prizes today?
We do not have any prizes today.
No prize today.
I know. It's so disappointing.
I was going to do a little prize contest today because I need a little help for a column I'm writing.
Well, Mike, is there anything sitting around your house that you want to send to a listener? That you're just like, man, I've got this shirt from 1975 that I haven't worn in 30 years, so I'll sign it. Send it to somebody.
I'm looking around my little office at home right now. I've got an old baseball bat in the background.
Who is number 7 for the Magic?
That would have been J.J. Redick back in the day.
Ooh.
I got that jersey when I was writing a column. I went up to what was it? It was the Magic were playing the Hornets in the playoffs. All right. Magic were playing the Hornets in the playoffs when J.J. Redick was on the team. So we went over to Chapel Hill, me and a photographer, to see what would happen if I wore a J.J. Redick Duke jersey, throughout Chapel Hill, because J.J. Redick was the most hated player in college basketball. And he was with the Magic, so I went and wore that J.J. Redick jersey that you see on my wall right now if you're watching our Twitch or YouTube stream. So yeah, I got a lot of dirty looks, and
Nice.
people were yelling at me and stuff.
I love it.
So call in today. 5th caller gets a J.J. Redick Magic jersey.
That would actually be a popular item. J.J. Redick, Magic fans used to love him.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, all right, we want to hear from you throughout the course of the show. 407-916-8255. You can tweet us at 96.9 The Game or at The Game Jacks. You can also text us on our Academy Sports and Outdoors text line. That's 50857. Also, if you'll look behind me, actually, they're not there because I took them out of my office this morning. My set of golf clubs, I could have given those away, although I am playing golf this morning for the first time. I'm going to a media day early this morning around 8:45, and then I'm playing golf. And I haven't played golf probably in about 2 years.
Oh, man. Well, you know what they say about golf. It's like riding a bike. You never forget, right? That's exactly
I was never good. Yeah, I always fell down when I was riding that golf bicycle because I've never been any good.
Mike's got a good enough sense of humor, though, to keep getting invited back, to people's, golf, the charity events. Yeah, because nobody's like, all right, I got Mike Bianchi, the golfer. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No.
Oh, we had a great time with Mike Bianchi. That was fun, man. It was great. I mean, he didn't make a putt all day, but that guy was hilarious.
But he drank lots of beers and made us laugh.
That's right.
All right, the Open Mic Early Morning Inspirational Quote of the Day, which we forgot yesterday, by the way. Dr. Wayne D. Dreyer said this, and we might have used this quote before, but it's so good, we're going to use it again, by God. Go the extra mile. It's never crowded there. End quote.
Yeah, no, I mean, that means, hey, listen, if you're willing to put in the extra effort, the extra work for anything that you want to achieve, do it, because most people aren't willing to. And if you are the one, then guess what? Good things wait for you. There are not a whole lot of people willing to put in the extra work for success. That's why there's not a lot of people up there. It's not very crowded up there on the extra mile.
I used to have an old boss, all right? His name was Tom Squires. He died a few years ago. He had Alzheimer's. But anyway, he was a great boss. And he was from Tennessee. And he always had these little witticisms from Tennessee. And when he hired me, I still remember this. And I sort of live by this. He goes, I'm not looking for somebody who does what they're told. I'm looking for somebody who does what they're not told. That's what he said. And it's so true, because I've had colleagues in the newspaper business and the radio business who always wait to be told something to do, even though they know it needs to be done, but they just wait for their boss or whoever to tell them. And So Tom Squire said, "Don't, I want somebody who does what they're not told to do."
That's a good one.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good one, especially in the workplace. Because
You're gonna share. You're gonna share that with your team, aren't you?
No, I know. Actually,
I'll give it to
as a
you.
matter of fact, no. My speech is more like this. Why aren't you guys doing what I'm telling you to do? I'm telling you. Why do you keep doing the things I'm not telling you to do? I'm going to use the exact opposite for my team. It's like, listen, I'm telling you what to do. Trap with your back foot. You just keep trapping with the other foot. I don't understand. I'm making this really simple for you.
I used to have a producer who shall remain unnamed, all right? But he used to always say, and this was several years ago when I was first starting out the radio show. And he goes, "Why are you such a micromanager?" And I go, "Because you're not a better self-manager. That's why."
Man, so he's the reason why I get the email every day?
Absolutely.
Man, 10 years later. Wow.
All right, let's start with the football game last night. Lamar Jackson saved the day for the Baltimore Ravens. He leads the Ravens to a 47-42 win over the Cleveland Browns in a wild back-and-forth Monday night game in which the teams combined to tie a 98-year-old NFL record. Now, the NFL's top two rushing teams last night, the Browns and the Ravens, combined for 9 rushing touchdowns. That tied a league record set in 1922. You want to take a guess at the two teams that set that record in 22?
Oh.
In 1922, let's see, the Chicago Cardinals and
Rock Island and Evansville. Yeah, Rock Island and Evansville. You guys would have never gotten that one. By the way, Lamar Jackson last night, it was again, I only saw the highlights. I wasn't able to stay up for the whole game. But, I mean, he was sidelined by cramps, all right? So he's on the sidelines, so he comes back into the game, like Willis Reed, all right, for the Knicks limping onto the court. All right, he comes back into the game, throws a 44-yard touchdown pass to Marquise Brown. That sets up the Justin Tucker 55-yard field goal with 2 seconds left for the win.
Morgan Cox for the snap. Sam Cook the hold. Tucker's kick is traveling down the middle. It is long enough. It is good! And with 2 seconds left to play, the hay's in the barn, and the Ravens are on path to make the playoffs with an unbelievable comeback.
He hammered it like that LSU kicker hammered it the other night. 55 yards by Justin Tucker. Do we have the losing call of that kick? I want to hear the Browns call.
Snap back, ball down, kick on the way, and it is good. He hit it with 2 seconds left to go. Wow. A 55-yard field goal by Justin Tucker. And the Ravens, 45-42 over the Browns with 2 seconds left.
Why is he so excited?
Yeah, why are you so excited? You need to be down.
it's like
You need to be like the call we had yesterday on Dan Bailey's, last miss.
And he missed
That's how you need to.
Yeah, he made it.
It's time to go home.
that guy must be the Brent Musburger of NFL. Yeah, like oh man, I was laying 2.
By the way, what was the spread last night? Because that kick made it 45-42. The Browns, there were 2 seconds left. The Browns tried one of these lateral plays at the end, and they got a safety, which made it 47-42. I wonder if that ruined the spread. I wonder if that.
I think the Browns were favored anyway. So that that 3 points.
They were.
Yeah.
Okay, so that didn't matter. That did not matter.
I'm just assuming because they had a better record and they were at home, and it's the NFL.
Yeah, you're probably right. By the way, again, Lamar Jackson, I think what did he throw? He only threw for a handful of yards, right? He only threw 11 passes, all right? 11 passes.
Oh my God. Baltimore was favored by 3. So you would have had a push. Oh my God.
The stupid lateral play costs a bunch of people money. Wow. Wow.
You're like, well, it could be worse. I mean, we could have they could have scored a touchdown and then I'd have lost money. I'm just going to push situation. Oh, wait, where are you going with that ball? Go forward, run. Jarvis Landry, what are you throwing it backwards for? Go. Oh, brutal.
Wow. Yeah, that would be brutal. I want to get into the running quarterbacks in the National Football League later in the show because, again, Jalen Hurts, you saw what he did on Sunday. Lamar Jackson, you've seen what he's been doing. Obviously, Taysom Hill now with the Saints. I want to talk about these running quarterbacks and why is the NFL finally realizing that you can have your quarterbacks run. That's not going to be next. That's going to be later in the show. That's a late show tease. All right, straight ahead, I need help from our listeners. We are trying to come up with some nicknames for the shoe-throwing Florida Gators. That's next on Open Mic. Open Mic, the best radio show in town. Isn't that right, Urban Meyer?
I think your facts are not surprisingly incorrect.
My facts are not incorrect, Urban Meyer. In fact, I have a fact right here. I have a holiday gift that will beat all holiday gifts, and that is a fact. It's the DrinkWorks Drink Maker, and it makes any cocktail you want at the push of a button. It works like one of those fancy automatic espresso machines you have on your counter. It's a beautiful machine, by the way. You press a button, and the machine does the rest. Only it's premium cocktails that come out, not coffee. How good is that? I love a good old-fashioned, and the Drink Maker makes it for me without having to buy all of those different ingredients and mixing it up myself. Doesn't matter what your drink of choice is, Moscow Mule or Margarita. The Drink Maker has more than 30 cocktails. This is an amazing machine. It's a great deal, all right? A really great deal right now because you can save $50 off the standard price, and they'll even throw in free shipping. This week only, my listeners can save an extra $50 on drinks. That's $100 in savings. But this great deal ain't going to last, I'll tell you that. So don't wait. Just go to drinkworks.com. That's DRINKWORKS.com. Enter the promo code Bulldog at checkout. That's drinkworks.com, code Bulldog. Please enjoy responsibly.
Slisker looks at Conley. Throws it short. It's intercepted. Charlie Farmer, the middle guard, intercepted it. Slisker looked into the middle of the short man, and he threw it right in Farmer's hands. The first turnover by Ohio State. And we got a big fight going on. The officials buried in the middle. And it is a five-man rush. Manziel retreats. Look at this. He's still on his feet and heaves it deep. Oh, my gosh. And you say magic? Georgia Tech at the NC State 43. Blitz is on. Ball is back. Pass. Oh, and catch. You talk about the playmaker, and Calvin Johnson went behind himself to get that one at the NC State 32.
Dyer, the freshman, is wrestled down at the 46-yard line. Pleasant, and he gets back up. Dyer gets back up. Was he not on the ground? Did he stay on top of Pleasant? The Ducks are saying, wait a minute, he was down. But everybody is moving up there.
Brent, I think he would have stopped running if it weren't for his own sideline.
On 2nd and 10. Wallace looking for the second option. Still looking. Still looking. Back to the 30. Scrambling. Tight ropes down inside the 10. Look out. Looking for a block. Gets it. Wallace. Touchdown. Incredible play. Long is right.
It's hit by Woodson, who got a foot down somehow inbounds.
Folks, you can watch football a long, long time before you see another play like that.
Michigan at the 41. What a hit! Ball's free on the ground. South Carolina deserves to have it, and they do.
Cloudy just says, I'll take care of business right here. You give me this long to catch my breath, I'll come off the ball and rock you and get it right back for our offense.
There's the blitz. Touchdown, Lehman. Touchdown, Oklahoma. Williams got him on the blitz. Lehman on the pick. OU is going to win it again.
Ducks rush only 3. Winston has all day. Tries to escape, circles back, still alive. Loses the football. Ball comes out. It's scooped up by the Ducks. And Tony Washington streaking to the end zone.
Backs are over 7 yards per carry average.
Frazier adding more numbers, more yards to those. Oh, they don't have him yet. Look at Tommy Frazier. How many tackles can one man break? Touchdown.
Bush right up the middle, gets the outside. He's at the 30. It's another foot race. Cuts it back to the 20. Comes back to the near side of the field. He is going to go. It's going to be another USC touchdown and another thing of beauty from one of the best running backs you will ever see.
Hey, let's go. Get in here. Get in here right now. Get in here. Hey, we got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives. 30 minutes for the rest of our lives. That's our battle in the first half. It ain't happening. We get the ball. I promise you one thing. We're going to hit somebody and we're taking downfield for a touchdown. I guarantee you that. Guarantee. Look at me. Look at me. Let's go. We got 30 minutes. Let's go. For the rest of our lives. Let's go. Let's go. Lock on.
On first and goal from the 9, St. Pierre drops back, throws one side, tip, and into the hands of Matt Walter. The interception brings it across the 15, the 20, and Reed takes the ball out of exchange, brings it over the 40, 50, down the middle, it's a race, the 30, the 20. Reed is going to score for Miami. The Hurricanes are going to win this game.
ESPN weekends. We are football. We are FM 96.9, The Game.
Hey, jingity jing. It's Dominic the donkey. Jingity jing. The Italian Christmas donkey. La la
La, everybody. La 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 la. Come on. La 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 la. Austin, I don't hear you. La la la. Adam. La la.
His name is Dominic.
Dominic.
The cutest little donkey you never
Okay, I see what you're doing, Austin Pistol. You think you're so sly. You try to get it out of the way early when you know that the early part of the show we don't have as many listeners as we do in prime time, like in the 7 and 8 o'clock hour.
I'm a man of the people, Mike. I don't want people having this song stuck in their head all day long.
I'd like to request also dogs barking jingle bells.
Consider it on the request line.
Okay, I'm putting it on the request line.
It's there. It's written down. Mike, one thing that is really funny about Dominic the Donkey and with you is that so there is a slight delay for you. Mm-hmm. When you sing, are you singing along like right
I'm
as you
singing right
hear
along with the words. Yeah.
Okay, there's like a half-second delay for us. So we hear the song and then we hear you. And I just think it's the funniest thing in the world because it just there's just that little bit that shows like, all right, Mike's not in the studio. He's a little bit further away.
What do the listeners hear? Do they hear what you're hearing?
Yeah, they hear what we're hearing. And so you're you need to be ahead of Dominic the Donkey to get the EOS, Weesnaws, whatever it is, on time.
Okay.
If you want a glimpse into my world, he's 16 seconds delayed, and I got to try to time his 1/2 second delay to the video. Which
by the way, Adam Reardon, your boy Chris Doring, the former Florida Gators All-American, was the speaker at the Orlando Touchdown Club last night. And so obviously, you know, he went to the University of Florida, was a big star. In fact, he led the SEC in career touchdown passes for the longest time.
Still does.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't?
Devontae Smith broke it.
Oh, just broke it.
Broke it earlier this season. Not only he shattered it by now, but Doring had 31 career touchdown catches at the University of Florida back in the mid 1990s, and that record stood until Devontae Smith broke it. So I was asking Doring last night, did you want him to break it? And he was acting like, yeah, of course I did.
No,
Yeah, sure you did.
I know him better than listen.
He was saying it facetiously. Of course he didn't want Devontae Smith to break his record. So Devontae Smith broke the record November 25th, I believe, against Kentucky. And I go, hey, Doring, Kentucky giveth and Kentucky taketh away.
That's funny. You know what's amazing? It was Amari Cooper who tied him, right? Mm-hmm. And like you think about, I mean, Alabama has just pumped out receiver after receiver after receiver. And you think about Alabama as a running team first, right? I mean, they've pumped out a lot of high. The fact that they've had receivers that could chalk up those sorts of offensive numbers. And they're only around what feels like 2.5 years. I mean, Jerry Jeudy wasn't there that long. Mm-hmm. Julio Jones wasn't there that long. Amari Cooper didn't feel like he was there that long. Devontae Smith, it feels like just yesterday Devontae Smith burst on the scene and felt like he was the second guy to Jalen Waddle for the longest time. And that's why, honestly, I had no idea it was broken. Because I was thinking, well, these guys at Alabama, they're not there long enough. The guy that was at one point was so close to breaking it was Marcus Monk, who was at Arkansas. And then he ended up with a knee injury, and we used to joke that we had a voodoo doll just to, make sure. we had the Chris Doring 31 touchdown voodoo doll, and anybody got close, we like, hey, yeah, but that's amazing. Alabama, a run heavy, run first team, is churning out wide receivers that are pumping out those. That isn't the fun and gun. They ain't running the fun and gun in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. But man, they can score.
They're sort of running it now, though. But I'll tell you what, because they are driving the ball down the field. They're throwing the ball deep. I'll tell you what, if Waddle doesn't get hurt, maybe Doring's record stands. Maybe they would have split up the touchdown catches if Waddle doesn't get hurt. But anyway, so I was I give a little address to the Touchdown Club every week or every other week when they meet before the guest speaker comes on. So I was talking about Marco Wilson last night and how I feel bad for him because, again, he makes a split-second decision. It was a boneheaded decision, don't get me wrong. But he makes a split-second decision, and he's going to be known for that for the rest of his life. Chris Doring was fortunate enough to do something really good. He caught a touchdown pass against Kentucky, and that's what he's always going to be known for among Gator fans. Doring's got a touchdown. Doring's got a touchdown. Oh, my, Doring's got a touchdown. He's always going to be known for that. And that touchdown catch by Chris Doring that saved the day and won the Gators the Kentucky game, that catch, Adam, you can speak to this. Chris Doring was a self-made All-American. He was a walk-on. Of course, he went on to catch a lot of touchdown passes. He played in the NFL for a bunch of years. But when he goes back to Gainesville, he's always remembered for that. And I would say that catch is one of the reasons Chris Doring is a successful businessman in Gainesville right now.
Yeah, listen, if you are a college athlete and you have a moment like that, I mean, and you're not a Heisman Trophy winner, and you don't go on to play and star in the NFL. Doring was always one of the last few guys that were on a roster, special teams guy. But I mean, the hardest working guy I know, and always put himself in positions to, have maintained that level of success, which, making an NFL team in and of itself is a success. But yeah, you get to go back to that college town, and if you're in a business, that town embraces you and wants you to be successful, loves it. And Chris Doering has the extra layer that he went there, he lived there. His dad was a professor on campus. He went to PK Young. Chris Doering was running around,
and plus Doering has charisma. He's a good-looking guy. All of that stuff.
I mean, he's normally the second best-looking guy, down at the Cove. I would say that. Behind this guy.
So anyway, Marco Wilson, of course, just the opposite. He has to live now with this play probably for the rest of his life, all right? And now you have guys like me who are trying to come up with names for the play, all right, which is our spontaneous text question of the day.
Spontaneous text question of the day.
All right, so we've come up with a couple of names. Other people have as well. All right, the cleat of defeat. I wrote in my column the other day that, Spurrier used to call, FSU free shoes U. So now the Gators are FSU as well, fling shoe U. All right. So I'm going to write a column about this. All right. And I like a little synergy between the radio show and my column writing at the Orlando Sentinel. I'm looking for the best nicknames for the thrown shoe. All right. It could be a nickname. It could be, like somebody texted in yesterday, the thrill of victory, the agony of decleat, things like that. I'm looking for that. Anybody have one? Anybody have one?
As just a headline, just a big headline, decleated. Because,
instead of defeated.
Yeah, because now it's
decleated.
Now, because, their
Gators get defeated and decleated.
Yeah.
LSU gets decleated, Gators get defeated. How about that?
That's not bad.
What about this? What about this one? UF. All right, that's Florida's initials. UF, unleashed footwear.
I kind of like that. Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Hey, as I continue to think of one, I'm stalling for time here, but I do want to say I mentioned Dallas Baker and his moment against Tennessee in which he's remembered for. I did see from Marco Wilson's dad that Dallas Baker reached out to him sort of to say, hey, listen, this, he said like, hey, this is how I handled it. Believe me, you're going to, every time an LSU game rolls around, listen, all the fake field goals and stuff that Les Miles beat Florida with, those are all now second on the list of crazy ways Florida has lost to LSU in the past. They had a tight end drop a touchdown about a few years back that was also kind of LSU has
what did Dallas Baker do again?
He retaliated against a Tennessee defensive back and got a 15-yard penalty, which then set up Tennessee to kick a field goal right before halftime. It was a boneheaded play, or maybe took them out of field goal position, something along those lines. But Dallas Baker did a reactionary, emotional thing and got flagged for it, and it probably cost Florida that victory, and he's sort of remembered for that. So kudos to Dallas Baker, who's a guy that has sort of lived what Marco Wilson's going through right now, walking around campus, knowing everybody's looking at him. That's the guy right there. Everybody tie your shoes real tight. Here comes Marco.
All right around the corner, we will stay with this topic. We got some Dan Mullen comments about Marco Wilson. Also, should the SEC have protected the Gators like the ACC protected Clemson and Notre Dame? That's next on Open Mic. Open Mic, the best radio show in town. Isn't that right, Urban Meyer?
I don't know who creates a story like that.
This is a Safe Touch consumer alert. It's happening again. Those ding-dong do-it-yourself doorbell cameras having major issues once again with one well-known doorbell company recalling 350,000 video doorbells due to fire hazard. Remember that the same company had an issue with their doorbell cameras getting hacked not long ago. This is why I have a Safe Touch home security system, which, by the way, comes complete with professionally installed and a professionally monitored doorbell camera. You don't have to worry about Safe Touch's video doorbells starting a fire or getting hacked, and it will stop those holiday porch pirates in their tracks. You know, you're not really saving any money with these do-it-yourself alarm systems either. You're only putting your family in harm's way. How's that? Because do-it-yourself alarms are designed to be installed by anyone. And if I can install something, you know what that means? It means it's easily hacked, easily bypassed. That leaves your family vulnerable to the creeps and the bad guys. So do what I did. Go to safetouch.com right now, safetouch.com, for a system you can trust at a price you can afford. State license EF233.
We hand it off to Herschel. There's a hole. 5, 10, 12. He's running over people. Oh, you Herschel Walker.
Snap. Dan Conroy with the biggest kick of his life. Oh, they'll fake it. Bates throws it. He's got him. Yeah, wide open. He's got Charlie Gantt inside the 10. He can walk in. Spartans win. Touchdown, MSU.
Here we go. Last chance. What are you going to do? Cooper Rush will throw in the air and look for a whole lot of help. Ball is caught. Oh, no! To the 15, it's lateral again. Is that still alive? That's Titus Davis. Can he turn the corner? And Kevin assumes the unthinkable with 1 second left has happened. Bowman.
Williams breaks a hole. Williams, hello record book. Ricky Williams runs to the Hall of Fame, cuts back. Ricky Williams, touchdown! 60 yards and the record is his. He does it in dramatic fashion.
3-man rush. Cousins on the last play of regulation. Chucks it to the end zone. Michigan State's got it on the rebound. Hold on. It is just short of the end zone.
After further review, the runner did cross some lines.
Touchdown, Michigan State. With a miracle ending.
High, it holds up there. Rogers takes the ball at the 30. He's hit and got away. Back upfield to the 35, to the 40. He's to the 45. He's to the 50, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, to the 20, to the 10. He's all the way home. Holy moly! Man, woman, and child did that. Put him in the aisle. Johnny the Jet Rogers just tore them loose from their shoe.
6 yards to go now. Green zone. Green on the left, Green to Moss. And he's got some room. Look out. And move. Look out. Randy Moss. Oh, my. Oh. Now we see the speed. Randy Moss. Looks like he's going the distance. Randy Moss. What a play. Wow.
Take it short. Lateral. They practiced that on Wednesday. Time's going to expire on the game, so this either goes or it doesn't. still alive. It's got to be a backwards lateral. Get behind it. Still alive.
Duke doing a nice job staying spacing all over. Oh, he got a block.
They got blockers. They've got a lane. 40-yard line. No black shirts between the goal line. Can you believe what you just saw?
Are you going to go back?
Watch live and local news on a variety of networks with YouTube TV. Try it free.
This is rice. Think it's good for you? Think again.
There's one simple trick to controlling your weight.
Cardiothoracic surgeon Stephen Gundry says he's solved the weight loss mystery.
To throw the ball, sets up, looks, throws toward the corner of the end zone. It is intercepted! Intercepted! The Ducks have the ball! Down to the 35, the 40. Kenny Wheaton's going to score! Kenny Wheaton is going to score!
Enough. Get into the chorus here.
It's all
This
about
has
the
to be
build up. There it is.
This has to be Mannheim Steamroller.
You're correct.
Not big on them. I like words in my Christmas music.
I like words.
I like some lyrics is what I like. I'm a word guy. I'm a wordsmith.
Come on. You're telling me just lean back, some headphones with this blasting? Oh.
I like either words or dogs barking. My Christmas carols.
Yes, of course. The true form of art.
Yeah. All right. Get your dinger ready.
Oh, it's always ready, Mike.
Okay, we're looking for nicknames for the Gators shoe toss loss to LSU. There's been some clever ones. You can text them into 50857. What about this? The toss for the loss.
I don't like that
No?
one. No.
Gator Chomp has been replaced by Gator Chuck.
Okay. All right.
So I've reworded one because somebody sent in LS shoe instead of LSU. How about this? LS shoe, Tigers decleated, Gators defeated.
I think it's a little long. I think LS shoe is good. I like the shortness.
Just LS shoe?
LS shoe.
Okay.
A shoe-in to not be in the playoffs. That was real bad.
Text those in to 50857. There's no business like shoe business.
Oh, now we're talking.
Wait, that makes no sense.
There's no business like shoe business, brother.
There's no business like... All right, so Dan Mullen on the SEC teleconference, all right, SEC championship game teleconference. They had one with Nick Saban. They had one with Dan Mullen. Obviously, Dan Mullen was asked about Marco Wilson's penalty and his thoughts on it. Here was the Gator coach talking about the penalty.
It's a shame, I mean, when I went back to watch the play and, he made the tackle and, I mean, part of the football move, the kid's shoe was in his hand and he kind of threw it and jumped and celebrated with his teammates. So it's pretty unfortunate in that situation. I don't think there was any intent to taunt, and it wasn't like he was throwing it at their sidelines or doing any of that. It was a huge play. He thought possibly a game-winning play, and he kind of threw a shoe and went to celebrate with his teammates, and unfortunately it was a penalty.
Okay, so that was Dan Mullen. Now, so there have been some Gator fans and fans throughout the country, really, who are ripping Dan Mullen for that comment. And you know what? He's right. He's right. I mean, he shouldn't have tossed the shoe 20 yards down the field. Don't get me wrong, but the shoe wound up in his hands, all right? He makes the tackle. The shoe winds up in his hands, and he just throws it. All right, he throws it. He wasn't really. He didn't throw it like in an act of emotion, like so. Yeah, go get your shoe. It was just in his hand, and he threw it so he could go celebrate. Like, let me get rid of this shoe so I can go celebrate. Again, it's a penalty. I understand all of that. But Dan Mullen's sort of right. And why would anybody, especially a Gator fan, why would a Gator fan rip Dan Mullen for sort of defending his player who he knows this player? He knows Marco Wilson is getting absolutely eviscerated on social media. Why shouldn't the coach defend him? I give Dan Mullen credit. I don't give Dan Mullen credit a lot of times for some comments he makes, but I'm giving him credit for this.
Yeah, no,
he's defending his player.
He's stepping in front of Marco Wilson a little bit, but where Marco Wilson loses sort of the benefit of the doubt as to, sort of his intent on when he was throwing the shoe. If you go back and you watch the game, he's quite vociferous in almost every moment of the game, he's talking.
Well, he's a trash talker. I mean, there's no question.
I mean, but what happens is if you gain that reputation and then you throw the cleat. He didn't just throw the cleat aside. How far did he throw it, Mike? 20 yards down the field.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, there was a time 5 years ago that the Gators couldn't complete a pass 20 yards down the field, okay? so yeah, but kudos to Dan Mullen.
What I'm saying is if you watch the toss, it was it wasn't an emotional toss. It was sort of like a nonchalant, let me get rid of this shoe toss.
No, I don't think.
No?
I think it was definitely an emotional, like get your out of here, and even his teammates knew it because right away, I forget which safety it was.
I'm not saying there was any question that it was going to be a penalty.
Well, actually, I saw a video yesterday. It was BYU against Tennessee, and a BYU defender tackled Jared Guarantano, and his shoe came off. And when I say he threw his shoe, I mean he underhand, like discus tossed this guy's shoe as a defensive tackle, so maybe he throws it farther than Marco Wilson can. But there was no penalty on that play, at least in the video that I saw yesterday. Obviously a big moment in the game, but again, to Dan Mullen's what Dan Mullen's trying to do there is deflect as much as he possibly can from a kid who's probably just getting absolutely hammered.
Not probably. He is getting absolutely hammered. There's no probably about it. But I remember when didn't Dwayne Wade one time throw a shoe at somebody during an NBA game? I think he did.
I think he did.
The beloved Dwayne Wade. And I don't think he got a technical foul for it. But anyway, coming up next, speaking of the Gators, all right, I contend that if Dan Mullen wants to blame somebody for the Gators not getting into the national championship playoff, even if they beat Alabama, don't point the finger at Ohio State. Point the finger at Greg Sankey, your own commissioner. That's next on Open Mic.
Open Mic with Mike Bianchi.
Skill level that he has is certainly John Elway-like.
We'll be back right after this.
Oh, do I have the place for you to get the perfect sports Christmas gift, all right? You looking for the perfect gift for your favorite sports fan this holiday season? My good friend Nancy, all right? She used to run a quilt shop in Winter Garden. I've told you this before. The quilt shop closed during the pandemic. Nancy says, you know what? I love sports, so I'm going to start making sports gifts, all right? And that's what she does now. Go to nancylovesports.com to browse her personalized holiday stockings, her sports towels, her team pillows, gift bags, face masks, so much more. Also, if you ever wonder what to do with your kids' sports t-shirts or jerseys, Nancy makes a beautiful custom quilt with these. You can hold on to that quilt and cherish it for the memories of a lifetime. They make a perfect graduation gift or, of course, a holiday gift as well. If you don't see what you're looking for, send Nancy a message. She will work on customizing just the right gift for you. Don't forget to enter the code BULLDOG for 20% off. That's BULLDOG for 20% off at nancylovesports.com. That's Nancy, Nancy, lovesports.com.
swing. Blocked. Snuffed. Rubbed out. Erased. And Georgia Tech with an opportunity. Austin still on his feet. One man. You can't believe what just happened. What a time to be alive.
Now they got to call timeout. They wind the clock. 9 seconds to play, and Drew Tate doesn't know that. The game's going to end on this play. He fires downfield. It's caught, and into the end zone. Touchdown, Iowa! Touchdown, Iowa! No time on the clock. I don't believe what I just saw. Touchdown, Iowa! Oh, my God, I can't believe what I just saw. Was it Solomon? It was, no, Holloway. It was Holloway. Ryan Holloway. The forgotten man. The forgotten man. Drew Tate trying to hand the game to LSU. He wouldn't call timeout. He didn't know the clock had restarted, and he just fired a touchdown pass.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game. Unbelievable.
Live TV from 85 plus channels with local sports and news. YouTube TV. Try it free.
Pizza or salad? Which one do you think I'm having for dinner tonight? Well,
Second down now. Deep strike. Got the big man. Country. Goes free. And touchdown. Red Raiders with a second to go. This is 28 yards. The fans have stormed the field. They're going to have to clear the field here. They're going to have to clear the field. They've got to get everybody off, and they're going to penalize Texas Tech.
Chaos. Goalposts are down one side of the field.
Squibbit. Here comes the lateral. There's one. Intercepted. Texas Tech upsets the #1 team in the country. No more penalties for this crowd. Big down. Third and a long 5. Heading to the end zone.
Oh, so we're judging now.
Who sings this version?
The great duo of Hall and Oates.
Ah, yeah. Give us a call, 407-916-8255. So I'm interviewing Annika Sorenstam this morning. All right, she's involved with the Diamond Resorts Invitational LPGA/Celebrity Golf Tournament coming up in January. I think our station is a sponsor of that. If not, they probably will be. So I was thinking, Annika Sorenstam, she's the greatest living woman golfer. I don't think anybody would question that. All right. How many greatest living athletes, undebated, like for instance, we can debate whether Michael Jordan is the greatest living NBA player, but there's no debate about Annika Sorenstam being the greatest living woman golfer. How many greatest livings do we have right now? Certainly not. There's not one in baseball, is there? I mean, I don't think anybody's going to say Barry Bonds is the greatest living baseball player. Is NBA? No.
I'm not for sure.
NFL? I guess you could say, again.
I mean, some would say Tom Brady.
Wait, are you asking, like, is the greatest to ever play that sport still alive today?
Yeah.
Yeah, greatest living, yeah.
I mean, Michael Jordan?
Well, you just said that it's argued.
Isn't that debate?
I mean,
isn't that debated?
That's a debate.
Yeah, but I mean,
people. I mean, you could debate. Bill Russell. You could,
All right, how about that? How about
LeBron,
a deep cut?
huh?
Michael Phelps, greatest swimmer of all time. He's alive still.
Usain Bolt, greatest sprinter ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great. Yeah,
I'm sure there's some Russian power lifter.
I guess Tom Brady's not very. He's pretty much accepted as the greatest football player of all time, isn't he? The GOAT.
I mean, at least greatest quarterback. I don't know, football player, all around football player.
Yeah, I mean, you say greatest football player. I always go back to that draft, that combine photo of him standing there in his Hanes boxer shorts going, that is not the best football player who's ever lived. Right there. I refuse to believe that.
Jim Brown. Give me Jim Brown any day. And the greatest basketball player of all time, Bob Cousy. Bob Cousy. He's the greatest.
Wait, was Annika Sorenstam, is she better than Lorena Ochoa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, look at her number of titles and.
Well, I mean,
here's the thing about Annika too. She retired at age 38. She retired at age 38. She'd have a zillion more if she had. She's sort of like the Jim Brown of women's golf. I mean, Jim Brown retired early from the NFL to go into acting. Annika, retired early from the LPGA and women's golf. Just essentially have a family at age 38. So anyway, I thought it was an interesting thought. Just a passing thought I had this morning. All right.
Just had a caller say Wayne Gretzky. How are we having this conversation without mentioning Wayne Gretzky?
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky. Yeah, he's commonly known. I mean, he's the great one. So I always thought, people always call Muhammad Ali the greatest. Was he the greatest, unquestioned, the greatest boxer of all time? I don't think so.
No. I mean, obviously his social influence when you kind of package it all together, and his charisma and whatnot. But yeah, no.
All right, so ACC Commissioner John Swofford talked to Andrea Adelson of ESPN.com, a good friend of the show, and he pushed back yesterday against the notion that the ACC had given Clemson and Notre Dame last weekend off as a way to, quote, protect their college football playoff chances, telling ESPN the complaint, quote, rings hollow. Now, the reason that John Swofford is addressing this is because SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey has been critical of the ACC's decision to give both teams an open date the week before the ACC championship game. All right? So Sankey has been critical. John Swofford says, wait a minute. And his quote to Andrea Adelson is, quote, I don't think there's anybody else that I'm aware of that has played more games than Clemson and Notre Dame, both who have played 10 games, the same number as the SEC championship contenders, Alabama and Florida. So his quote was, I don't think there's been anybody who's played as many games as Clemson and Notre Dame. We look at our league. We don't worry about what other leagues are doing. We look what we think is appropriate and right for the ACC, end quote. That was his comments to Andrea Adelson. Clemson coach Dabo Swinney also dismissed the complaints of the SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey Sunday when he said this.
If the ACC was trying to really protect Clemson and Notre Dame, why would we even play the game this week? I mean, if 6 wins can get you in the playoffs, shouldn't 9 get you there? Shouldn't 10 get you there? I mean, so if the ACC was really trying to protect Clemson Notre Dame, we wouldn't even play this game. And that's not what we're about. We want to crown a worthy champion. It's going to be an awesome game. I would have loved to have played this past weekend. I had no problem with that. I didn't make that decision. I had no problem. We wanted to play when we were down in Tallahassee. We were about to get on a bus and go play. So I have, things happen just like it has all over the place. Things you don't control. All you can do is control whatever goes on.
So that was Dabo Swinney. I read you the comments from John Swafford. And let me just say this. Stop it. The ACC did protect Clemson and did protect Notre Dame. And you know what? I don't blame them for it. I'm not blaming the ACC for it, but don't say that you didn't do that. You did. Because Clemson was supposed to play the rescheduled game against Florida State this past weekend. Notre Dame was supposed to play Wake Forest this past weekend, and those games got canceled by the ACC. So, yes, they did protect their teams. But, again, I have no problem with that. If they would have played those games, they would have probably won them. Even if they'd have played them, they would have probably won them. But you don't know. You don't know. The Gators thought they were going to beat LSU, too. They were 24-point favorites. That's what happens sometimes, especially late in the season when you have injuries and all of this stuff. You don't know what's going to happen. Ohio State lost to Purdue that one year when they were a zillion-point favorites. That happens in college football. The more games you play, the more chances you have to lose, especially when you're playing, other Power 5 teams within your league. So don't tell me that the ACC didn't protect Clemson and Notre Dame. The SEC probably should have protected Florida and Alabama. Now, Alabama didn't need protection, but Florida did. To me, the ACC was smart. The SEC was dumb, in my opinion. If the Gators don't get into the college football playoff, Adam Reardon, even if they beat Alabama, don't blame the playoff committee. Blame your own commissioner. My opinion.
Okay, you can do that, but only after you blame your head coach and your players for not getting up and beating a team that you should have handled.
I understand they should have.
But if they didn't play the game, if the SEC stance was, hey, listen, we've got our two champs, the East and the West, no sense of playing this, risking the travel, the COVID injury. Let's protect this game. The ACC is probably saying, listen, we were protecting the ACC championship game, not necessarily these two teams, which happen to be in the playoff hunt. Could have done the same thing. But here's the big problem. You know why they didn't do that? Is because
they want their TV money. That's why.
Well, that, and you can't, when the ACC makes that announcement, you can't come out as the SEC commissioner and go, man, this is ridiculous. They're protecting their teams. And then get back in your office and go, well, on second thought, that seems like a really good idea. Maybe I should do that.
Yeah, that's what Mark Daniels has said. He said Greg Sankey's just mad that the ACC thought of it first.
Well, not only did they think of it first, but when they thought of it first, he came out and criticized.
Yes, exactly.
And so basically, he painted himself into the corner where he was rolling the dice that we're the SEC, we're going to play our games, we're not going to hide from any, and it bit him in the butt. It cost him a chance to get two teams into the college football playoff system, and guess who's going to get two teams in, or could potentially get two teams in? The ACC.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, don't act like this was just a noble competition thing for the SEC. All right? We want to compete like Dan. No. The SEC wanted to get in their full allotment of TV games, all right? And why is that? Because TV networks are paying that conference and every conference a bunch of money every time they play a game. So don't tell me that this had nothing to do with money, all right? The more games on TV, the more money you make. So the SEC wanted to rake in their TV money, and you're right. It bit them in the backside, bit them in the behind. Because if the Gators don't play LSU, they go into that SEC championship game with one loss. If they win that game, they get into the playoff, and Alabama probably gets into the playoff too. So, yeah, this is all on the SEC.
Greg, you're right. Greg Sankey feels like everybody, as they watch Shark Tank late at night, and a guy like made $6 billion off the glow-in-the-dark toilet seat, and you go, why didn't I think of that first? I should have thought of that. Me not having that level of intelligence in that moment has cost me millions of dollars, and that's what Greg Sankey is today.
All right, let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, FM 96.9 The Game, the home of Orlando City Soccer Club.
What you reading there, honey?
It's very exciting stuff, you see. It's the front page of the internet.
Here we go with the front page of the internet today. We start off on YouTube's trending page where Mr. Beast, we've talked about him quite a bit in this segment because he gets trending a lot of times. This time it is his gaming channel with a video that has over 7.2 million views. Him not actually playing video games. Instead, he donates $50,000 to Twitch streamers with 0 viewers. So he'll go on to different Twitch streamers, see that they have only 1 viewer being him, and he'll donate $50,000 to them. And the reactions are priceless. He ends up donating well over, I think I did the math right, well over $500,000 to different streamers. It's changing people's lives, man, when you got that YouTube money.
Absolutely.
I actually saw one where they were playing, I don't know, like some sort of Minecraft or something like that, and like anybody who would eliminate him or one of his buddies, that they give him like 10 grand or something like that.
Yeah.
Almost. I mean, I was this close to actually start playing video games. I was like, oh, I'm gonna. Ooh. Hey, but I may qualify for the 0 viewers at this point. Austin, do me a favor, log off real fast.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're trying to build up our viewership. There's 50 grand out there for nothing.
That's right. Everyone tweet at Mr. Beast. Say, get 96.9 The Game some money.
Yeah.
There you go. Trending. Speaking of 96.9 The Game, trending on 969thegame.com, baby. It's the SEC Shorts. They're back with a new funny.
I saw it last night at the Orlando Touchdown Club about the shoe toss.
Yes. Getting kicked out of the playoffs. It's hysterical. So go check that out. 969thegame.com, the open mic section. Happy birthday today to Miami Vice star Don Johnson.
I used to love Don Johnson's white suits.
Sonny Crockett, right?
Yeah, Sonny Crockett. I'm going to go. Don Johnson's got to be. He's got to be 71.
I was going to say 73.
He's 71 years old. Mike Bianchi.
Wow. Mike, you remember his character on Miami Vice, Sonny Crockett? Wasn't he a former football player for the Gators? Like, that was the storyline. He was. I want to say he was a former football player for the Gators.
Sonny Crockett? Really?
Yeah, I think so.
That.
Man. Look at that Miami Vice knowledge.
I think. I don't. I'm like 80% sure on that one.
There's Adam. Adam always just throwing stuff out there. I might be right.
Didn't he had like a pet alligator, didn't he? He had a pet alligator on the show.
That sounds very Miami Vice. I haven't seen the show, but I figured you guys would know.
I was much more of a Tubbs guy than a Crockett guy. So.
No, I was a Crockett, yeah.
Trending on Reddit, couple things. First and foremost, the election has officially become official. It's over. We can stop talking about it. Joe Biden received the Electoral College vote, so he's in. He is the next president of the United States.
Fake news. Fake news.
Great.
Joe Biden won Georgia more times than Steve Spurrier.
You said it that one day, and I laughed, and then I read it the other day when you had posted it on Facebook. I laughed again. It was so funny.
On the topic of shoe throwing, 12 years ago yesterday, George Bush had shoes thrown at him at the press conference. So kind of interesting that this weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, the internet needs to get on that. And like that guy who was throwing the shoe, you got to like superimpose Marco Wilson's helmet on that guy who was throwing it at George Bush at that press conference.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, people are freaking out because someone took a photo of what a McRib looks like before it is cooked. Yeah. And guess what? It's a frozen piece of meat. It's white, and people are like, ew! That's That's a McRib before it's cooked? Yeah, what'd you think you were putting in your body?
I'll tell you what, after it's cooked, though, it is very good.
It's the sauce, brother. The sauce
It
is
is
the
the
boss.
sauce. Because it sure ain't rib. I can tell you that right now.
I don't know what it is, but it's delicious.
Speaking of shoes, deceptive intellect. You've probably seen a documentary on this when Nikita Khrushchev, the old Russian dictator, during the Cuban Missile Crisis. All right, and he got up on the podium of the UN and he took off his shoe and he pounded it on the podium. The United States will never do this to us again. Yeah.
What? He used the shoe as a gavel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that happened. I'm 80%. I'm 80%.
Man, that's
all. I don't know exactly.
All this shoe tossing and everybody getting all my Spanish friends have come up to me and go, "What's the big deal? This has happened to me my entire life. My mother get angry at me. Shoe."
Austin Pistolkas, test my knowledge of history and Google Nikita Khrushchev and see what he did with his shoe.
You think I
think it was
spell
at the
that?
Yeah, just KHRUSCHEV.
Got it. Google finished it for me.
Thank God. Thank God for that.
Khrushchev and shoe. While you look that up, all right, the Cleveland Indians are changing their name. They just don't know what or when they're going to change their
Cleveland
name.
baseball
all right?
team.
Yeah, no, they're not going to be the Cleveland baseball team. They're going to keep the Indians' name until they come up with another one. The owner of the team said yesterday we'll be the Indians in 2021, and then after that, it's a difficult and complex process to identify a new name and do all the things you do around activating that name. So we're just going to keep the name until we come up with a new name. So they will still be the Cleveland Indians this coming season. They won't be the baseball team in Cleveland or the Cleveland baseball team like the Washington football team. All right, that's what it's going to be. I'm just wondering when this trend. I mean, when's it going to reach, the Florida State Seminoles and the Atlanta Braves and the Kansas City Chiefs? Because it's going to have a trickle-down effect, right?
Yeah, but I think that the Florida State Seminoles have always been sort of insulated from this because they have some sort of...
Yeah, the Seminole Tribe of Florida has endorsed the name.
Yeah. It's sort of, and it's sort of like, hey, listen, if they're saying we're not bothered by this, then how can anybody else be bothered by this? They're saying, hey, it's a great honor, and I mean, we're proud.
Although the main, like the head, I guess chief of the Seminole Tribe of Florida, Max Osceola.
Yep,
Max Osceola. He was the guy who actually negotiated the deal with Florida State. All right, he just passed away a few months ago. So I'm wondering if that will change how the leadership of the Seminole Tribe of Florida views the nickname, because there are other Seminole tribes, like the Seminole Tribe of Oklahoma, who don't agree with the Florida State Seminoles nickname or the War Chant or any of the Renegade and Chief Osceola, any of that stuff. So there is a debate among some Seminole tribes about whether Florida State should be using this nickname. So again, it's going to be debated again, whether it's Florida State, whether it's the Braves, whether it's the Kansas City Chiefs, all of that. So again, I don't think there's a question about whether it's going to come up again.
What about the tomahawk chop and stuff like that? Like the cultural appropriation and stuff. That to me is like I guess I'm in this day of political correctness, and I when I was 12, I didn't think about it. As a matter of fact, when Deion Sanders would do it, I thought it was pretty cool. But as we kind of gotten older and times have changed and sensitivities and awareness of these sorts of things have changed, like that's the one for me that, whether or not the names stay, and they can say that feels in 2020 a heck of a lot different than it felt to me in like 1990 when I was watching Mark Lemke round the bases.
Yeah, or again the white guy who portrays Chief Osceola painting his face red and getting on right?
Yeah.
And you know, I think
isn't it the least you could do if you're a Florida State Seminole is like get a real like Seminole Indian to come out there? And
I don't think it's a real Seminole Indian.
No, I know that for a fact.
Yeah, it's a Florida State student, I think.
Ryan Parker is our honorary Osceola today.
Here's my thing, though, all right? And maybe, again, this isn't my fight, so, what I say doesn't really matter. It matters what, Seminole Indians think about it, not what I think about it. I've always thought if you're honoring that tribe or honoring that, like the Fighting Irish or the Boston Celtics, those are sort of groups of people
the Vikings
as well. If you're honoring them, then what's the issue? But again, it's not my issue. So, anyway, what do we have on Nikita Khrushchev?
The shoe banging incident happened in New York, 1960, at the United Nations General Assembly, where Nikita Khrushchev, first secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, pounded his shoe on his delegate desk in protest at a speech by Philippine delegate Lorenzo Sumulong.
What did he say? What did he say when he pounded the shoe? Did he say that?
I don't know. It's somewhere buried in the Wikipedia article.
What about the Bulldog nailing history? Huh? What about the Bulldog? The deceptive intellect.
I like that.
I deserve.
I like that. I like that. And then to find out that it wasn't just him he was on the road. I mean, like that was a road game for Khrushchev. He came to the United States with that action. That wasn't in Moscow, but that wasn't at the Kremlin. That was on the road in hostile territory. Marco Wilson's tossing shoes at home in the swamp. All right, you don't just go out on the road pulling off your shoes, banging it like a gavel. Listen, the stones on that guy.
This will be the last time the United States ever tells the Soviet Union what to
Up there as a wide out too. The ball goes into the end zone and it is incomplete. Intended for Gamble. Now there is a penalty flag thrown. Randy Crystal. Yep. Trenzo sneaking touchdown. And Kellen Winslow and Dorsey under pressure throws it. The Buckeyes win. C. Grant was the man who pressured Dorsey, and now the party begins for the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Stream live and on-demand TV, now including these favorites. YouTube TV. Try it free.
Hey everybody, stop clicking around. I am in the woods with some water going in the background near my house, and in the next 30 seconds I'm going to show you how to use this solar power bank from Ford Patriots to charge 2 huge devices at the same time. I'm also going to show you how you never have to run out of battery power for your phone ever again, even if you're in a dire situation. And that's because I'm holding a Patriot Power Cell, or what I call a pocket backup power factory. It fits anywhere, and it's easy to my hand, and it packs so much power inside this thing to charge your devices. It even charges 2 devices at the same time. So you can see right now that it is charging this iPad, which is currently at 1%. You can see that the lights are going, and I'm going to go ahead and plug in a second device. Now this even works. I don't know how many ads you've seen for solar gadgets that crack or get wet or stop working after a few uses. You really have to hamper, but not this thing. This thing is so amazingly tough. You can drop it, you can splash it, you can run it down to 0% and then recharge it all the way back up to full. Let's see, yep, it's charging this phone too, which is also at 1%. You can recharge it not just 80 times, not 90 times, but up to 500 times, maybe even more. So you're going to want to stop what you're doing and pay special attention, because I'm going to put something on the screen that is only going to stay here for a second. Now, you might want to get out your clicking finger and get ready to strike this when this appears. You do not want to miss it. This that I'm holding right now, again, is called the Patriot Power Cell from 4Patriots. It's a battery pack, and it works with any phone or tablet or any other USB powered devices. And the best part is that, look at the solar panel. It even recharges itself using the free power of the sun. And you can always charge it on the wall while you still have power if you just need to get ready for what may be coming down the pike. And what I recommend is that you actually get a pack of these. You can get 4 of these. We've sent literally thousands of these around the country, and right now our store is showing an average of 5 out of 5 stars on this product if you go to 4patriots.com. That's because people love it. We hear from all kinds of people. We hear from police officers, we hear from Navy SEALs, former Navy SEALs, first responders, seniors, parents. We hear from just people who love to travel, people who get the 4-pack and give these out as gifts. One of our customers wrote on the website, they wrote, "Get more than one," and they rated it 5 stars. And they said, "I have them in every bag of mine as a backup battery, and when it's sunny, I have them sit out to get a quick charge." Now, another customer wrote on our website, again on 4patriots.com, "I've purchased several of the 4-pack Patriot Power Cells." They rated it 5 stars. Not only for personal use, but they make good gifts. Everyone I've given one to loves them. Anyway, so I really love this, and that's why now and for a limited time, while these supplies are still with us, you get a 50% savings today and free shipping when you grab a 4-pack of these. Not only that, but when you do grab this 4-pack, you're going to find out how to build your very own larger full-size solar panels. That's part of a digital video library that you're going to get, and we used to sell that digital video library separately to thousands of people. It's part of how our business got started, but right now it's yours 100%.
#1 for music, radio, and podcasting.
Live stream, chance to donate over at Magic 107.7, our sister station. This charity is absolutely fantastic. They actually give money to families who need it when their kid is in the hospital. And it's not just like, oh, we're going to help with, in just an idea. They actually hand them a check so that way they can buy groceries, pay rent, all that sort of stuff. Give4kidstoday.com to donate today, or tune into Magic 107.7 tomorrow for Advent Health's Day of Giving.
Sound off. Oh, I'm super comfortable out there with Markel. I mean, just because look, Markel is at his best when he's in the open court. So if I can get in, I can push and I can hit him ahead. That's what we want right there. Just because he's a really good downhill player. If he gets downhill, he's really hard to stop. I can tell you that from being in practice with him. Shoot. So, but it's fun playing with not just him out there, but also Evan, MCW. I really love this team.
We start off with the Orlando Magic rookie Cole Anthony talking about playing with Markelle Fultz, playing with his new teammates, and I gotta tell you, maybe it's just the fan in me. But I'm buying into this Cole Anthony hype. He had the crossover where he put a guy on his butt in the game. He was on SportsCenter. I'm excited for Cole Anthony. How excited are you?
I'm excited for Cole Anthony and Markelle Fultz this year. And the thing I like about Cole Anthony, I'm going to use a cliche right here, but when you listen to him talk, you can tell he has, cliche alert, a high basketball IQ. Woo! All right, and maybe that's just because his dad played in the NBA. We know that, but he's talking about Markelle Fultz and playing downhill and all that. I think Cole Anthony's going to be again, I don't know how great he will be. I think he's going to be a good draft pick for the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, no, Cole Anthony, is a guy to get. You know why I'm most excited about Cole Anthony? He can play right away. It's nice when you draft a guy, he shows up day one, ready to ball. That's nice.
You're excited because he's not
injured. That's why, obviously a lot of us are excited and happy for this opportunity because, we'll never take that for granted. But, at the same time, it's going to be a great matchup. They got a great offense. We got a great offense. They got a great team as well. Same here. So it's a great matchup. And like I said, just super excited for the opportunity.
Dillon Gabriel talking about the matchup with BYU in the Boca Bowl. He's excited. He said that about 7 or 8 times in his 7-minute press conference, saying that he's excited, to play this team. They're a good team. This is the best bowl matchup we could have hoped for. And do you expect the Knights to beat BYU?
Ooh, man. I'm going to reserve judgment on that. I just want to tell you something. Mark Daniels at the Orlando Touchdown Club last night. All right, so Dillon Gabriel's dad played at Hawaii, all right, back in the early 90s, 1990, all right? And Ty Detmer was the quarterback at BYU. So Ty Detmer wins the Heisman in 1990, all right, at BYU. Dillon Gabriel's dad quarterbacking Hawaii right after Ty Detmer won the Heisman Trophy. Hawaii beats BYU. Quarterback by Dillon Gabriel's dad. How good is that? Huh?
Ooh, that's a story and a half.
So is this foreshadowing? You're voting for Zach Wilson for the Heisman Trophy? Is that what you're saying?
I'll tell you what, if he hadn't lost to Coastal Carolina, he would have been on my ballot, no question about it.
Yeah, as far as UCF winning the game, I'll take UCF right now because, does Zach Wilson even play in that game?
Supposedly, he said he's going to play in the game.
Yeah, okay.
So
That's
we
today.
shall see.
That's today.
Yeah, that's today. Yeah, that could change. There's no question. Yeah, because he's worked himself into a high draft pick. He's going to get drafted in the first round. I don't think there's any question about that, right?
Yeah, I like UCF today with Zach Wilson on the other team. I love UCF if Zach Wilson's not on the other team.
The most important thing and priority for us as an organization going into this season is the health and safety of our fans, our players, our coaches, our staff. And thus the reason for all of these protocols and the many protocols that we're following from the NBA. And our intention is to adjust as needed as the season goes on and as the pandemic brings us any new news. We will adjust as we go along the way. I would just say to you from the outset that there's no guarantees here as we go into this process.
Alex Martin, CEO of the Orlando Magic, talking about how they're going to have maximum 4,000 fans in the arena for, I don't know if it's for opening night, but the plan is...
they're going to start out with 2,000 and then hopefully work their way up to 4,000.
There you go. The most interesting thing I think about all this is that the Magic are actually going to pay for COVID tests for fans that are seated within 30 feet of the court. That sounds a little expensive to me.
Those seats are expensive. So
yeah, that's true.
Hold on.
That's true.
Actually, the fans will be paying one way or the other, right?
I guess so. But what do you think about this plan? And considering they are one of only 4 or 5 teams that are going to have fans in front of their crowd, in front of the basketball players.
Again, this is a little bit different than football because football's played outdoors. This is an indoor sport, which I guess more of a chance to get COVID indoors than outdoors because, again, I don't know the scientific reasons, but it's obvious, right? So I'll be going to the games. I mean, I'll be going to cover the games. And, I went to the NBA bubble. Those were indoors as well in a smaller venue. I don't have a real issue with it. It's, fans have a choice whether to go to the games or not go to the games. If you choose to go to the games and you want to take whatever the risk is to go to the games, then that's your option.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of testing people that are close to the court. One, to protect your own investment. Guy courtside, like, hey, great job. How close are they letting fans?
15 feet.
15 feet. What's that? Like row 3, row 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, to courtside. Yeah, I like the idea of it. I guess the benefit of being in Florida, if you're a sports fan and you can afford one of the 2,000 to 4,000 tickets, is we're in one of the states that's got a governor who's going to say, hey, we're open for business here. Not going to be able to do that probably at Laker games, that's for sure. So yeah, I mean, just if you do it safely and intelligently, and then always sort of go back to the data and see if there's something you can do better, then okay, that's cool.
Sound off. That's the sound off for today.
That is the sound off for today. Straight ahead. What do you want to talk about coming up? You want to talk about the No, we don't want to talk about the Jaguars. Gardner Minshew's the starting quarterback.
We're clamoring for it. We finally get it, and we just say, we're burying the lead. We're burying the lead at Jacksonville.
This is nothing the Jaguars do right now excites me. Nothing. There's nothing they could do except my rotating quarterback idea.
Gosh, dang it! Not this again.
That would mildly interest me. All right, mildly.
That doesn't even interest you all the way.
I just accused us of burying the lead for a team that's never really had the lead.
Remember when Pistolka took him out of the picks one week? No, we're not picking the Jaguars this week.
Yeah,
we have to
they
pick
suck.
The Jaguars. We're on in Jacksonville. All right, straight ahead. We'll figure out something to talk about. That's coming your way next on Open Mic.
What does Mike Bianchi and the next commercial break have in common? They're both short.
Now listen here, Mr. Frodo. Don't get short with me.
More Open Mic after this.
Hey, all of you employers out there or other organizations, if you're looking for peace of mind in this COVID-19 era, Healthy Cells Wellness is the trusted advocate for employers to provide COVID-19 and COVID antibody testing in a calm, organized environment at your work site. That's right. They come to you. Hey, maybe the Magic can use Healthy Cells to test the fans at the games, huh? Only FDA-approved tests will be administered by a qualified clinical staff. No more waiting in line with other people. If you act now, your insurance company could reimburse you for the total cost of these tests. You can safely reopen your company or keep your company open at Healthy Cells Wellness. Tell them, mention my name, the Bulldog, you'll get a free COVID-19 test. How about that? You can find them at healthycellswellness.com. That's healthycellswellness.com.
They win the game! They win the football game! The most shocking, improbable, unbelievable sequence of events. LSU will go home with the victory.
56-yarder. Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow! Oh my God! Auburn wins! Auburn has won the Iron Bowl! Auburn has won the Iron Bowl! They're the most
at that Daniel deal you got me on my insurance.
Daniel, State Farm offers surprisingly great rates to everyone.
Sure you do. You want to meet the Queen?
I'm not dressed for that. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State
Unbelievable fashion you will ever see! I cannot believe it! 34-28! And we thought a miracle in Jordan Hare was amazing! Oh my Lord in heaven! Chris Saban has spread it 109 yards! And Auburn is going to the championship game!
Down by 6 now, 3 seconds left. 3rd and 10 at the SMU 41-yard line. McMahon all the way back in his own 46, throwing for the end zone. Receivers are there, defenders are there. It is in the end zone. Who has the ball? Touchdown! Touchdown! Touchdown, Brigham Young! Wild finish as he defeated SMU in one of the most spectacular college football endings I have ever seen. 3 wideouts at the top of the picture. Stewart with time. Lets it go. He's got 3 people down there. The ball's up in the air. Caught. Touchdown. Caught by Westbrook for a touchdown. Incredible. There is no time remaining. There are no flags on the field.
Flutie flushed. Throws it down. Caught by Boston College. I don't believe it. It's a touchdown. The Eagles win it. Unbelievable. I don't believe it. Phelan is at the bottom of that pile. Here comes the Boston College team. He threw it into the end zone. There was no time left on the clock. Doug Flutie has done it. And your heart goes out to Bernie Kosar, who did everything he could. And like we said, it went down to the last at bat. And Flutie and Boston College have won it.
He's asking where Kosar is.
This is one of the most remarkable football games I have ever seen.
Harmon will probably try to
6 plus 7.5.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Of the year. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
With the kids jingle belling and everyone telling.
You know what's so wonderful about this time of year, especially in 2020? That the year's almost over.
Yeah, amen to that.
I was just listening to the update that we just did, the Fox News update, and man, this Keontae Johnson story is scary. Scary. The Florida Gators forward, Keontae Johnson, he's been transferred to UF Health in Gainesville, remains in critical condition but stable condition following his collapse on the court during Saturday's game at Florida State. UF released an update on Monday on Johnson's medical status, noting he is, quote, following simple commands and undergoing further tests, end quote. USA Today reported, you just heard it during the update, that Johnson's grandfather, Larry DeJarnette, said the 21-year-old basketball star has been placed in a medically induced coma. So again, I don't know what, I'm no doctor, obviously, and I'm certainly not going to speculate on what's going on here, because this is obviously life-threatening when you're in a critical condition. That means life-threatening. I don't know why they put him in a medically induced coma. I don't know what those are used for. It's usually used to, I think it's usually used during, and then I'm not even.
So I saw a report on this.
I've known people who were put in medically induced comas after surgery. So again, I don't know if there's been any surgery. Florida's not put out much information. I'm talking about the University of Florida hasn't put out much information on this. So I don't know why they use medically induced comas, but it's certainly not a good thing. A good thing when you're put in a medically induced coma.
No. So I saw a report on SportsCenter. They basically said that he was put into medically induced coma because they feared that there was activity going on in the brain that was not supposed to be going on, and so they just put him in a state where he is stable, so that way the brain doesn't have to be working right now. Essentially, is the dumbed down version of what I saw on SportsCenter.
Interesting.
As a way to protect the brain from hurting itself.
Man, wow. As I mean, just like that, one of the best players in college basketball, really. He was a preseason SEC Player of the Year, Keontae Johnson. He chose to come back to the University of Florida for his junior season. Probably could have turned pro last year, but again, not saying this wouldn't have happened had he been in the NBA. But just like that, boom, his future's in jeopardy, his life's in jeopardy, and it's scary because, as Adam said yesterday, this is a 21-year-old basketball star in the prime of his life, in the prime physical condition, 6'5", 229 pounds. If you look at him, he's sculpted, he's in shape, comes from a great family. His family's a military family. His dad's in the Navy in Norfolk, Virginia. Again, unbelievable tragedy right now. Yeah. Unbelievable tragedy.
And you don't want to speculate, but I guess the report or the belief is that he did test positive for COVID.
No, he did. He did.
Okay.
That was announced a while back. But I don't know exactly when.
And we don't want to speculate on what happened and whether or not it is connected to that positive COVID test. But again, I mean, we've heard for so long, and I don't want to go too deep into this about how, listen, that's only something that hurts old people. I can go to the store without my mask. I got two young children. I say young. My daughter's 15 and my other daughter's 11. That they're in Marion County, and Marion County has taken about as lax a stance on this, like, hey, it's not mandatory in the stores, everybody. And it really
good old slow cal.
So but that and that's their mindset. And listen, there are a lot of people everywhere that sort of believe that it's only going to kill people who are 80 years old. Let me tell you something. If and what I don't even need, and I don't even want to discuss it like that, but if this is connected, if what happened to him on the basketball court is connected to his heart, which is connected to the effects of COVID, listen. It doesn't just take down 85 to 95-year-old grandmas and grandpas. This guy is in better shape than you or I have ever been in our lives in this moment, and he's battling for his life. And again, it's a big leap, and I don't want to connect the two because I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
But we can connect it to Al Blades Jr., the Miami Hurricanes football player who's had his season ended because of myocarditis, which is an inflammation of the heart, which is caused by or has been tied to COVID. All right? So Al Blades Jr., he had COVID, and now he has myocarditis, which, again, has been known to kill young people, young athletes. So you're right. It's not just old people, mostly old people, but it can have effects on young people as well. So again, a major, major tragedy going on in Gainesville. Hopefully he pulls out of this. He goes back to normal. Everything's fine. He goes to the NBA and leaves a happy, healthy life. But right now, it is scary what's happening in Gainesville. 407-916-8255. Speaking of the Gators, the Gator football team. So Kyle Pitts yesterday, star tight end for the Gators, number one, going to be a top draft pick in the NFL, not number one overall, but he'll be in the first round probably. Kyle Pitts said yesterday, hey, I wanted to play against LSU. I was pleading for the chance to play against LSU, but team medical personnel and Coach Dan Mullen overruled his wishes to play due to a lingering injury, although they didn't say what the lingering injury is. He didn't say what it was. Here's my question, all right? There's been speculation that Dan Mullen was just sort of resting up Kyle Pitts, getting him fully healthy for the Alabama game because, and again, this is speculation, that the Gators just thought they were going to beat LSU and they didn't need Kyle Pitts to beat LSU. Of course, that didn't happen. Do you think if they had played Alabama this past weekend in the SEC championship game, do you think Kyle Pitts would have played?
Absolutely. No question.
All right, then they did hold him out.
There's no question. And there's just so much. It was only a week ago that I believe I heard a clip from Dan Mullen saying, it's not that we can't run the ball. We've just chosen not to. Let me say that. You can't run the ball. Mike, you said that, and I ended up looking it up, and we never went back to it. I think 69 yards was the leading rushing performance from a Florida Gator running back thus far this season in a game. 69 yards. It wasn't over 100. Let me tell you something. That's not because you don't choose to run the football. It's because you can't run the football. And if you can't run the football, and then your best football player, Kyle Pitts, make no mistake about it, is not in that game, that's how you find yourself in a game with even an outmanned LSU team who still got great athletes. Listen, all those guys that play for LSU were recruited by Florida and Alabama.
4 and 5 stars.
Yeah, so that's how you find yourself in a game and find yourself in a position to lose. You took for granted. I think that the SEC took for granted. We talked about that earlier. I think Dan Mullen took for granted. I think that the Florida football program took for granted that this is a bad LSU team. We're just going to win this game at home. We're going to send the seniors out. It's going to be a great night. And then we're going to go on to Alabama. We're going to have a rested and fully healthy Kyle Pitts for that game. And it just didn't work out. And I have no question in my mind. If that was Alabama and Atlanta, Kyle Pitts would have definitely played. But
we don't know. I mean, it's great for us to speculate. Okay, but we don't know.
Did he play the week before? He played the week before, right?
He did, and we don't. And again, I don't know what his injury is. They're not announcing that, but we don't. Let's see if he plays this week. Let's see if he doesn't play this week. Then what we're speculating is wrong, but we'll see if he plays this week. But I'm with you. I tend to agree that he could have played. He was begging to play. I don't know why Dan Mullen wouldn't have at least put him in uniform. All right, didn't even have him in uniform in case maybe you needed him at the end of the game. You put him in there, but he didn't even put him in uniform. But yeah, you can't have a guy not in uniform. All right, and then in the fourth quarter he suddenly trots out on the field with his uniform on. So again, I think Dan Mullen painted himself into a corner by not even putting Kyle Pitts in uniform against LSU. All right, straight ahead, we're going to get back into all of our poll questions. We got a lot of polls out there. You can go vote at 96.9 The Game or at The Game Jax. That's next on Open Mic.
More Open Mic up next.
Coward. Wrong.
Oh, I have another Safe Touch consumer alert. It's happening again. These ding-dong do-it-yourself Doorbell cameras, they're in the news again. They're having major issues with one well-known doorbell company recalling 350,000 video doorbells due to fire hazard. This is the same company, by the way, that had to recall a bunch of video doorbells recently because they were getting hacked and people were spying on you. This is why I have a Safe Touch home security system, which, by the way, comes complete with a professionally installed and professionally monitored doorbell camera. You don't have to worry about Safe Touch's video doorbells starting a fire or getting hacked, and it will stop those holiday porch pirates in their tracks. You know what? You're really not saving any money with these do-it-yourself alarm systems either. You're only putting your family in harm's way. Do-it-yourself alarms are designed to be installed by anyone that makes them easily hacked. That leaves your family vulnerable to the creeps and the bad guys. So you need to do what I did, all right? Do it right now. Go to safetouch.com. That's safetouch.com for a system you can trust at a price you can afford. That's state license EF233.
at 969thegame.com, on your phone with the iHeartRadio app, and on hundreds of devices like Alexa, Google Home, Xbox, and Sonos. An iHeartRadio station.
Time to put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
Welcome back to Open Mic. I'm Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog, sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel, joined as always by Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect, and Austin Pistolka, the Sultan of Sound.
Yay.
Together we are Open Mic, the troika of sports talk radio excellence in Orlando and in Jacksonville. We were just talking about Kyle Pitts and could he have played against LSU. Isn't it amazing what we're just two-faced when it comes to we're sports talk radio. Adam Reardon questioning Dan Mullen, overlooking LSU. That's why he didn't play Kyle Pitts. Can you imagine what Adam Reardon would have been saying? Say Kyle Pitts had, I don't know, a tweaked ankle or a tweaked knee, and that's the reason he didn't play against LSU. And then he goes out against LSU. They trot him out on the field, and he blows out his ACL. Can you imagine what Adam Reardon would have been? Oh, look, exploiting the athlete for your own means. That's exactly what you would have been saying. Exploiting the athlete.
What's funny is that I was watching the game, and you saw him on the sideline in just the jersey, no pads, and he was occasionally wearing his mask on the sideline with his teammates.
Occasionally.
Yeah. And the commentator said, "Hey, he looked fantastic during warmups. Don't know why he's in there." My first thought was he was suspended. Like, that was my first thought, was maybe got the old 2 strikes and a 1-game suspension. I don't know anything about the kid, but that's what was my first thought, because I'm like, well, he warmed up. The announcer said he looked fantastic. Because why wouldn't you play him? Now, obviously, you have these walkthroughs now, and teams are sort of like looking to see who's going to play. Yeah. That's why the SEC made Florida start putting numbers on their warm up shirts, so that you could kind of tell which guys were out there practicing, to be on before the game. And I thought, oh, little gamesmanship. Guy's not going to play.
Little decoy, little deceptive.
Yeah. We know who he learned that from. I learned that from his old boss, Urban at Florida. Not wanting to tip his hand as to who wasn't going to play. So I was shocked to see him not play.
Everybody was shocked. And during the course of the game, people were like, I was texting with my buddy who's a big Gator fan. Why isn't Mullen playing Kyle Pitts? What's going on here? Yeah. So it was a big deal. Of course, the Gators end up losing the game. That means they've probably been eliminated from the college football playoff. The word is now, should the SEC have protected the Gators like the ACC protected Notre Dame and Clemson by canceling Notre Dame and Clemson's final game of the regular season because they were already set for the ACC championship game? They didn't need to play that final game to settle any of the conference standings or any of that. So the ACC commissioner, John Swofford, said, you know what? We're going to cancel these end of the season games with Clemson and Notre Dame so we can get them into the ACC championship game unscathed, all right? And Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, criticized the ACC for that. John Swofford fired back yesterday when talking to Andrea Adelson. Dabo Swinney, the Clemson coach, said, wait a minute. We're not being protected. Here's what Dabo said.
If the ACC was trying to really protect Clemson and Notre Dame, why would we even play the game this week? I mean, if 6 wins can get you in the playoffs, shouldn't 9 get you there? Shouldn't 10 get you there? I mean, so if the ACC was really trying to protect Clemson Notre Dame, we wouldn't even play this game. And that's not what we're about. We want to crown a worthy champion. It's going to be an awesome game. I would have loved to have played this past weekend. I had no problem with that. I didn't make that decision. I had no problem. We wanted to play when we were down in Tallahassee. We were about to get on a bus and go play. So I have, things happen just like it has all over the place. Things you don't control. All you can do is control whatever goes on.
Okay, so that was Dabo Swinney saying, hey, they weren't trying to protect. Of course they were trying to protect you, Dabo. Not saying that they didn't do the right thing by trying to protect you, but stop it. The ACC did protect Clemson, did protect Notre Dame, and you know what? The SEC probably should have protected Florida. The ACC was smart. The SEC was dumb. If the Gators don't get into the college football playoff, even if they beat Alabama, don't blame the college football playoff committee. Blame the SEC. The more games you play, the more chance you have to lose, all right? And again, it happens all the time. We see it all the time in major college football. There are major upsets. We saw it with Ohio State and Purdue a couple years ago. We certainly saw it with Florida LSU, a 24-point favorite. We've seen it many, many times, all right? So, yeah, if Clemson had played Florida State, was Florida State going to beat them? Probably not. Was Wake Forest going to beat Notre Dame? Probably not. But you never know. You never know. So, again, I don't blame the ACC, but don't tell me you weren't trying to protect your teams. The SEC should have done that.
Yeah, the ACC was protecting its ACC title game, which then sort of protected the two teams that would be involved in it.
Yeah.
Because what happens here? What if LSU had had a guy get on the flight that got it, and then it spread throughout his team and then spread throughout? I mean, wouldn't then the SEC title game be in jeopardy?
Yeah.
If the SEC, when the SEC played their two games this weekend, they put at risk their title game the very next week, because if you had an outbreak on any of those four teams that were involved, then now maybe you don't play the game, or you don't play the game with some of the stars if they're the ones that contracted it. I mean, the ACC was protecting the shield, if you will, the brand, the title game.
And again, I don't blame them. They're going to have a chance to have two teams in the college football playoff now, and the SEC would have had that chance if they had made the decision to cancel the Florida LSU game this past weekend. All right, let's pause real quick for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, FM 96.9 The Game, the home of Orlando City Soccer Club.
Quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
It's TV time on Open Mic.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Let's hear from Fox 35's own Adam Shadoff.
Oh, we missed Adam Shadoff last week. He was off on vacation, and now he's back. You can watch Adam Shadoff every weeknight. The Fox 35 Sports Zone starts about 11:30 p.m. every night. They take a deep dive into all the sports happenings around Central Florida and across the state of Florida and the nation, for that matter. Adam Shadoff, how are you?
Good, Bianchi. What's up?
How was your vacation?
It was weird. I went to Houston, Texas, lovely, and watched my wife play in the Women's U.S. Open. And it was horrendous weather, and it was just weird.
Speaking of women's golf, I'm interviewing Annika Sorenstam today. Are you going out to the Diamond Resorts Invitational Media Day today?
I can't be there for that, but I do know Annika a little bit, and I would love for her to see your swing and give you some tips. That could be helpful for you.
I am actually going to play golf in their little media event today. So
yeah, beautiful. I like Tranquilo. Great course.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, Adam Shadoff, you ready for a little shout-off with Shadoff? Let's do it.
Shout it out from the rooftop. Woo-hoo! It's time for the Shadoff Shout-Out.
Here we go with the shout-out this week. Remember, you can vote on all these topics on Twitter at 969thegame or at thegamejax. We shall start with the thought-provoking daily poll. Should the SEC have protected the Gators before the conference championship game, much like the ACC protected Clemson and Notre Dame? Yes or no, Adam?
I think yes. I think for a couple of reasons. One, because now it's not nearly as sexy with a 2-loss Florida team. A 1-loss Florida team would have been a lot better. And it was always a risk. Obviously, Gators were huge favorites against LSU, but it was always a risk. And two, it's a COVID thing. I mean, what would have happened if Alabama had a COVID outbreak this week, or Florida had another COVID outbreak, and they didn't have enough players to play in the SEC championship game? They would have been screwed. I mean, they're lucky that for right now they're okay to go. But yeah, for those two big reasons, screw what everyone else thinks. Just do it.
Yeah, the ACC did it, and the SEC, well, got all high and mighty and said, hey, we're competitors. We want to play all our games. Stop it. You know what you wanted to do? You wanted to rake in even more TV money by playing all of those games, all right? So it was dumb. It was dumb. They could have two teams in the college football playoff. If by chance Florida were to beat Alabama, they could have had two teams in. Now Florida has no chance of getting in, even if they do beat Alabama.
68% of the vote says no, should not have protected. It's about the integrity of the game.
Yes, okay. We're competitors.
Supplemental poll number 1. Would UCF fans love or hate playing a game against FSU quarterbacked by Mackenzie Milton? Love or hate Mike Bianchi?
I think they would. I think most UCF fans are going to say they hate it, but why wouldn't you love it? I mean, it would have great storylines. It would be intriguing. As a sports fan, you should want all the great storylines and interest and intrigue that you can get. I think that they should love it. I think they should love to want to play FSU with Mackenzie Milton quarterbacking them.
I think I agree with Bianchi. I think that they would hate it because they would be worried about something happening to Milton and they caused it, and boy, would that be just a disaster. But I think they should love it also because it would be the marquee. I don't care what other game's going on in the country that week. It would be the marquee game. It would be national attention, more good news for UCF and the brand. And, assuming Mackenzie Milton gets through that game unhurt, then there's nothing wrong no matter what happens. So they should love it.
Hey, Adam, real quick. So Mackenzie Milton tweeted something about FSU, I think it was yesterday, and he had hashtag FSU Ohana. Do you think UCF fans like that?
No, probably. I think UCF fans kind of feel like they created that and that's their thing, and maybe Milton should have probably stepped away from that one a little bit.
FSU Ohana. He's got a new family now. Yep.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, reminds me of Mike Bianchi's dad. All right, moving on.
So what won that vote?
Love wins that one with 53% of the vote.
Good.
Supplemental poll number 2. Do you feel comfortable attending Orlando Magic games at the Amway Center in the new socially distanced configuration the team announced yesterday? Yes or no? Adam?
Yeah, I think I do. If I were, first of all, I do definitely as a media, because everywhere I've been so far where there's been media at events, everybody's done a pretty good job of wearing their mask and social distancing and using hand sanitizer. Everybody's pretty smart about that. But from a fan aspect, if I were a fan, yes, I would definitely feel comfortable. 4,000 people in the Amway Center that holds 18,000. That's not a lot. They're gonna enforce social distancing. Everyone's gonna have to wear a mask. There's hand sanitizer stations everywhere. They're even going so far as there is a UV light that's going to pass over the handrail on the escalator every time it goes by. So it's essentially being sanitized constantly. The Magic are doing everything they can. I think it's going to be pretty safe in there.
I agree with Adam. I would feel safe. And here's the other thing. The NBA is not going to fool around, all right? They're going to protect their investment, which is their players. The NBA is not going to fool around with this stuff like college football, where you have the crowd, and most of them in the crowd don't have their masks on. The NBA will enforce the mask wearing. They will enforce all of these protocols. You better believe it.
With 60% of the vote, yes, people are mostly comfortable with it. Supplemental poll number 3. I can't believe this is a poll again, Mike. Do you agree with Bianchi that the Jaguars...
We haven't made it a poll yet. We've not made it a poll yet.
Oh, my apologies. Do you agree with Bianchi that the Jaguars should tear a page out of Steve Spurrier's playbook and rotate all 3 of their quarterbacks on a series-by-series basis just to make their games interesting? Yes or no? Adam?
No, I don't. Doug Marrone, no, I don't agree with that. Doug Marrone did say, I think it was 3-4 weeks ago, that he was excited now to do all kinds of fun stuff and do interesting things and do all that.
Yes.
But I haven't seen any of it from him, and I don't think that's what it is when you have 3 bad one less bad and 2 bad quarterbacks. I'm not sure that's the answer to make things more interesting to cycle it around.
Absolutely, you should do this. First of all, all of your quarterbacks are bad. They're interchangeable. Right. If you do this, all right, first of all, it could give you a competitive advantage because it would keep the defense discombobulated. They wouldn't know what's coming at them. So, and if you could use the game as sort of a scrimmage to decide, okay, who is going to be the starter next week? We're going to put all of you guys out there, so go out and do your best.
It's got to be so hard to get in rhythm, though, when you're a quarterback.
Rhythm schmithm. Rhythm schmithm.
Okay.
I don't believe in the rhythm method, okay?
Okay. Woo, composure. 55% of the vote says yes, they agree with Mike Bianchi. We've got to hurry, so we're going to jump to the would you rather question. The open mic would you rather poll. Would you rather be put in a max security federal prison with the hardest of the hardened criminals for 1 year, or be put in a relatively relaxed prison where Wall Street types are held for 10 years? 1 year max security or 10 years relaxed prison? Adam.
Oh, I don't think there's much question for me here. I go 10 years light security with the Wall Street types because that's basically a country club. I could play tennis every day, and I don't have to worry about rape or beatings constantly every single day. Category there.
Well, that's typical Shadoff. He's soft. He's weak. He's timid.
Oh, goodness.
Give me the 1 year because I feel confident I could protect myself in a maximum security prison. All right?
That Mike Bianchi, he's a bad man.
I am the bulldog.
Wow. All right.
I see him in there with his getting a prison shank and he's getting a teardrop tattoo. Mike Bianchi, within months he's there. He's hard.
Let me say, as a kid, as somebody who once was a wayward youth who actually did the Scared Straight program in a federal penitentiary. No, you guys, but everybody here wants the 10-year, super chill.
Yep.
Yeah, those are different. That's a whole different world. Everything you've seen on Oz and all those other, it's all true. It's all true. Real scary stuff in there.
58% of the vote says 1 year max security is the way to go.
Yeah. Tough guys on our show. Our listeners are tough.
Yeah, behind that keyboard.
Adam Shadoff and Adam Reardon. The two soft
Good luck,
Adams.
Bianchi. Good luck.
We will catch you on the Fox 35 Sports Zone, Mr. Shadoff. I'll call you later, tell you how I'm doing on the golf course. How about that?
All right, hit him straight.
There you go. Adam Shadoff. All right, up next, Jeff Turner, Orlando Magic broadcaster extraordinaire. He's going to join us next on Open Mic.
Bianchi's got to get a quick workout in.
Pump you up.
Open Mic. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Hey, if you're looking for the best appliances in Orlando, if you're looking for the most appliances in Orlando, you need to check out my good friends at Aggressive Appliances. Why do I say they have the most appliances in Orlando? Because they just built the biggest appliance showroom in all of Central Florida. 20,000 square feet of appliances you can touch, you can try, you can feel them, you can hear how they sound, you can see how they might look in your kitchen or laundry. They have the best appliances, and they also have any price range you're looking for. You can check them out at aggressiveappliances.com. That's aggressiveappliances.com.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's.
We're in good shape on I-4 from Deltona to the attractions.
Ones who believe only quitters.
preseason going on right now. Obviously, the regular season getting ready to start now. Let's welcome in Orlando Magic TV broadcaster extraordinaire Jeff Turner. Jeff, I hope that the Magic's next preseason game is on Fox Sports Florida because the first two have not been. Tell me this one's going to be on.
This one will be on television.
Yes.
Fox Sports Florida. This will be our first opportunity to be on the air. David and I have been did the first two games on radio, so that was kind of fun. David hadn't done radio, and I hadn't either for a long time, so that was fun, but we will be doing both for the rest of the way. Fox Sports Florida, and then we'll simulcast on your networks.
I don't think you guys realize how much we depend on you guys being on TV. Isn't it amazing how spoiled we are now? Every game's on TV. It used to be back in the day, Jeff Turner, you had to really search to find your team on the tube.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. There are a lot of ways to get the broadcast now, and but I think that's great. I think people want to root for their home team and want to see it. So I love the fact that especially young people get a chance to watch games. And I had to wait for Sunday afternoon and just get whatever game CBS put on the air back when I was growing up.
The Magic will take on the Hornets, 7 p.m. tip-off Thursday. You will be able to watch that game, as you just heard Jeff Turner say, on Fox Sports Florida. All right, Jeff, let's talk about the Magic a little bit. Personnel, obviously a lot of talk about Markelle Fultz. His shot, is it improved? What do you think about the form on his shot now? Steve Clifford made a big deal last week about how it's getting closer to what it used to be. His three-pointer.
Yeah, I think so. I think I can see a difference. Maybe not necessarily in the release point, Mike. He's still working on that, but there's so much that goes into the shot, and what I'm seeing from Markelle is his footwork, especially coming off of screens with the ball moving, setting his feet, getting into his shot. He's a lot quicker on his setup. He looks very balanced. What we've seen so far, I think he's 3 of 5 here early in the first two games, is his decision-making. There's not necessarily a reluctance that I have to shoot this because my defender went under a screen. He's actually looking for it, setting his feet, and being ready to shoot the basketball once those things happen. So I think there's improvement there for Markelle. The shot, I think he spent a lot of time on it. He's just got to get to a comfort level where he doesn't think about it through so much repetition that he just steps out there and is confident when it's available to him.
All right, for the most part, Jeff, the Magic have 2 first-round draft picks. Obviously, they have Cole Anthony, who they just drafted, and then they have Chuma Okeke, who didn't play last year because he was rehabbing his knee. What do you see these 2 players' role being?
I think they're going to see a lot of court time, to be honest with you, Mike, especially Cole. I think Cole Anthony has come in and really made an impression on Steve Clifford and his staff and his teammates. This is a kid that, I've had a chance to watch some of the practices via some tape, and he's very competitive, very confident. We've seen that in the first 2 preseason games. I think you'll see him at that backup point guard spot a lot. Obviously, Michael Carter-Williams is playing a lot with him, so, take some pressure off of him. And I'm intrigued by Chuma Okeke. I think, this is a kid that has missed 21 months of basketball, almost 2 years. He had not set foot on the court in an organized game. And so he looks good. He's moving well. He really shoots it very well. I think just, as he gets more comfortable, I think you'll see him on the court quite a bit. Probably right now playing some of those backup minutes at the 4 spot, but I could see him being interchangeable and being on the court with Aaron Gordon a little bit, maybe switching back and forth on both wing spots. Jeff,
you've coached basketball. Obviously, you've played it at the highest level. I've always always wanted to. I've never really asked anybody this question about Terrence Ross. All right, Terrence Ross, obviously one of the Magic's best offensive players. He comes off the bench. I was talking to Leonard Hamilton, the Florida State basketball coach, last week, and asking him about Patrick Williams, who was a lottery pick, and Patrick Williams didn't start for Florida State last year. And Leonard Hamilton said sometimes you want your better players coming off the bench. Is that the reason Terrence Ross doesn't start for the Magic?
I think that's part of it. I think, to find a guy, for the hardest thing as a player is to find that niche where, like, if you're coming off the bench, imagine you're warmed up, in the pregame, you're loose, and then you go sit down. And it's, that's why starting, I think, is easier because you're in the flow of the game. It really is difficult, especially someone as talented and as athletic, I think, as Terrence Ross, to then be able to come into the game and turn it on from the start. What inevitably happens is as soon as you get in the game, you're going to be in a position where you have a chance to make a play. And a guy, that has talent like a Terrence Ross, who really has the ability to be a starter in this league, to have him being able to come off the bench and really give you that instant spark, that is a huge asset to any team. And I think, you see around the league guys that have become great sixth men coming off the bench. I think that's a characteristic. They embrace it, and Terrence Ross has done that. I think he prefers to come off the bench. He likes that role, and then they have the ability to get going very quickly. And that's not an easy thing to do. So I think that's a huge asset for any team when you've got a guy that has that much talent, that's a willing guy on your team to come off the bench and provide those minutes. What's interesting is he still gets the same minutes. He's getting 28 to 32 minutes a game just coming off the bench, and he's a finisher too. And, I always told guys, it's not important who starts. It really tells you something about where the coach thinks about you is who finishes games. And, I think that's a big part that Terrence embraces as well.
Orlando Magic TV broadcaster and analyst extraordinaire Jeff Turner. He's right here on Open Mic. All right, Jeff. So there's a new book out, all right? It's about Shaq and Kobe, and they're coming together in L.A., and they go into Shaq leaving Orlando. Jeff Pearlman wrote the book, former Sports Illustrated writer, and he goes into the Orlando Sentinel poll that everybody talks about. I wasn't at the Sentinel at the time. Your opinion, how much did the Sentinel poll have to do with Shaq leaving Orlando?
I don't know. What people need to understand is, that during that time, now we didn't have, Twitter and all those things. So the Sentinel obviously was, where a lot of people, got a lot of their news. I don't know how many people were involved in the poll.
5,000.
I do. How many?
5,000 votes.
5,000. Okay. That's pretty significant then. But it's, I think Shaq already probably had his mind made up. I think that was always a dream of Shaq's to play in L.A. Did it hurt? I mean, I don't think it helped. And I think it was one of those things where a lot of people, other players, the chatter, it probably got a little bit more importance placed on it than probably from Shaq's standpoint it was. So was it a factor? Maybe a little bit, but I don't think it was the major factor.
All right, Jeff, everybody knows you went to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt had a significant football happening over the weekend. Play Jeff the clip.
Sarah Fuller will get a chance for the extra point. This will be her first attempt at a kick. We had to wait 2 weeks for this. Here's the kick. It is on the way. It is good. Sarah Fuller has become the first woman to score a point in a Power 5 college football game.
All right, everybody knows Vandy football fans don't always have a lot to cheer about. Were you cheering that, Jeff Turner?
Let me tell you this. like, I am one of those guys that I am true to my school, and so I watch. Like, when Vanderbilt's on, I watch every game, and I'm, long suffering, and so I was watching, I was cheering. I am the father of 2 daughters. My wife was a college athlete, so we were all watching and cheering Sarah Fuller. So, I think it's, in a season where Vanderbilt, we lose just the nature of the business. Derek Mason, a class guy, gets let go in an 0-9 season now. I guess we're not going to get that 10th game with Georgia. It's something to be proud of. Vanderbilt making a little history there. Sarah Fuller making a little history for Vanderbilt.
Who was the better Vanderbilt big man, Jeff Turner or Will Perdue?
Well, I guess Will Perdue was probably the better, if you look at strictly the numbers. So, Will was a freshman my senior year. So, my interaction with Will when we were on the floor together, Will actually, I've had my nose broken 3 times in a game of basketball, and Will Perdue, my own teammate, got me once in the middle of a game. So, Will Perdue was a much better basketball player as a senior than he was as a freshman with Jeff Turner. So.
Jeff Turner, we always appreciate it. You can catch Jeff Turner and David Steele, the longtime Magic broadcast team. They will be on the telly Thursday night for the Magic's 3rd preseason game. Magic versus Hornets, 7 p.m. tip-off, Fox Sports Florida. Jeff, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, Mike.
There you have it, Jeff Turner. I'm saying Jeff Turner was better than Will Perdue. How about that? You guys don't even know. You guys don't even remember Will Perdue, do you?
I have no idea who Will Perdue is.
Merritt Island's own Will Perdue. They used to call him Will Perdunk when he was at Vanderbilt.
Ooh, Perdunk. Nice.
Yeah, he also was the center for Michael Jordan's Bulls for, I don't know how many championship rings Will Perdunk has, but he has at least a couple, I think. All right, straight ahead, Mark Daniels and The Bridge coming your way on Open Mic.
Mark Daniels joins Mike Bianchi on The Bridge next. Gators. We are FM 96.9, The Game, AM 740, and listen live on iHeartRadio.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now bring us a figgy pudding. Figgy pudding.
Oh, I love figgy pudding.
Oh, sorry.
Nothing better than figgy pudding, is there, Mark Daniels?
This is the 1985 Chicago Bears. No?
No.
Who is it?
This is the 2007 Boston Celtics.
Also incorrect.
Who is it?
It's the 88 Florida State Seminoles.
Also incorrect. It is John Denver and the Muppets.
You like figgy pudding, Mark Daniels?
You know,
I'm not a big fig guy. Figs are sort of like big raisins, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Fig Newton once in a while is not bad.
Yeah. Not my favorite cookie though. Not even close.
No.
Fig Newton.
It's it's a G5 cookie. It's not a Power 5.
Fig Newton's the one that tricks you into thinking like, "Hey, I'm eating healthy. This is a fruit based."
Yeah. Okay, whatever.
I've been known to like dispatch of an entire sleeve of them, going, "It couldn't be that bad for you. It's fruit."
Sort of like the peanut butter chocolate chip granola bar, just because it says granola in it. It's good for you. Granola.
I've learned my lesson. I keep eating all these Fig Newtons, but I'm not losing any weight. I don't understand it.
All right, Mark Daniels, a little inside baseball. All right, so we just had Jeff Turner on. Obviously, he is the Magic broadcaster, has been for quite some time. All right, so the Magic are returning to Fox Sports Florida on Thursday, all right, for their third preseason game. Also, you can listen to those games right here on our very station, FM 96.9 The Game, AM 740. We are the home of the Magic. Yeah, we are the home of the Magic. All right, but here's my question to you, Daniels. You broadcast TV, you broadcast radio. Obviously, you're the voice of the UCF Knights. So the radio broadcasts are going to be simulcast from the TV calls, all right, of Jeff Turner and David Steele. Will they have to adjust their style for that? I should have asked Jeff Turner that, actually.
Well, I don't want to speak for David and Jeff, but you have to take into account certain things that the listening audience does not know, that you can let the video and obviously a TV broadcast show. You don't need to call almost every detail. Not that you have to do it in radio, but yeah, there are some things that the radio audience will need to know, and David's done enough radio and TV over the years that he'll be just fine doing it. Jeff will adapt because as an analyst, he'll not change his role much, but there are some things that, does make the broadcast different between the two. It's not impossible to pull off, and both those guys have done it a while. They'll be fine.
Yeah, why didn't I think to ask that question? That would have been the obvious question, and I didn't ask. Instead, I'm asking about, who was better, you or Will Perdue?
What was his answer?
He humbly said Will Perdue.
Yeah, let's see Will Perdue's gold medal. Huh?
Let's see Jeff Turner's championship ring.
Whatever. One represented the country.
I don't really remember.
The other didn't hold the coattails of a championship team. No, what now?
I don't remember Jeff Turner much at Vanderbilt. I do remember Will Perdue at Vanderbilt.
I spoke to Jeff over the summer during the, heavy part of our lockdown. He came on for a lengthy interview, and among the things that I really want to talk to him was the Olympic trials. That's with Bobby Knight and what it was like. And if you go back and look at some of the names, and good for Jeff, because some pretty big names got cut from that team, while Jeff Turner made that team, and life playing for Bobby Knight on the Olympic team, what that was like. And that summer, the draft took place during the Olympic trials, and Jeff was part of a group that went, I think, like a van to drive over to watch it on TV. And Michael Jordan's drafted, and then Jeff is sitting there waiting to be drafted, and he's in like a green room off to the side, and he finds out he gets drafted, and then they all are driving back to be with the Olympic team that night. And one of the guys in the car, this is after they all got drafted, decided they want to stop at McDonald's. That was Michael Jordan that said he wanted to get some hamburgers on the way back.
I think it was Jeff Turner who told me. Did he used to play for the New Jersey Nets?
Yeah.
So he was telling me. So he was playing for the Nets, and of course, living in New Jersey, not exactly ideal. He was so eager. His last game with the Nets, I think this story's correct. He was so eager to get out of New Jersey that he drove the U-Haul to the arena with all his stuff in it. It just left after his last game.
I thought you were going to say he went to the airport in his uniform, just went straight to the airport. I got to get out of here.
Could not wait to get out of New Jersey. All right, a couple of quick things before I go. I'm going to have to leave the bridge early today because I'm going to interview Annika Sorenstam. Give me a couple of questions for Annika. What?
Do you want to go golf? You want to go...
Whatever. Doesn't matter.
I love this. Real quick, on the spot, do my job for me right now.
Daniels, nobody thinks on their feet like you do. You have to be a radio play-by-play.
I'm always curious about people that are viewed as the all-time greats at their sport if she recognizes that and understands the impact that she had. Because sometimes I think people like that are incredibly humble.
Let me write this down. Understand about being the great.
No,
she's Swedish, right?
I mean, in any sport, when you say name the 5 greatest people to play this sport, in women's golf, she's there. Okay,
she's the greatest living of female golf.
Right, and I'm just curious how people respond when you tell them or when you ask them, what does that feel like to be viewed as the all-time best at doing something? And I'm just curious about that. And then I think there's still the question why she left when she did. Again, leaving on top, and particularly in
38
golf.
38 years old, yeah.
Particularly in golf, when you can certainly compete. Like, she could have reduced her schedule, but she wanted to have a family. She wanted to start that family. So it's interesting the ability of walking away when she did, when she clearly was still among the best at doing what she did. Then I'd be real curious what she thinks about what the Big Ten did last week.
Yeah. How old are her kids now? Like 14, 15? You ask her, do you regret stepping away from golf at this point? Someday. They get enough attitude at the house?
But I'd like to know what she thinks of the Big Ten rule last week, that they changed it from 6 to 5 games, and what's her thoughts about that? And what the Pac-12 did yesterday.
Yeah, I should just do a Q&A with her, asking her all the questions we're talking about. Do you think the SEC should have protected Florida?
Right. Why no universal DH in baseball this year?
Absolutely.
All right, last question. I asked Jeff Turner this. I'll ask you this, all right? I texted you last week about the infamous Sentinel poll that's been brought up in this new book written by Jeff Pearlman. All right, I want your honest opinion right here. How much do you think the Sentinel poll had to do with Shaq leaving? Was it the major reason? Was it a minor reason? Give me your opinion.
Well, I think it's a minor reason, but as I text you back, I still think it was a factor because Shaquille was very sensitive to image. And in a town that not only just embraced him, but loved him, and he had so much fun in his early years of living in Orlando, the pond that we were, that poll, and as I text you, Charles Barkley ribbing him because the Olympic team was here, I think really got under his skin. As Barkley ripped the poll, he ripped Magic fans. But I think Leonard Armato and Jerry West were the two that played the biggest role in Shaq leaving, but I don't think that poll helped because I think people like Barkley
then why do you
made
say
it
it was a minor? Then why do you say it was a minor?
Because I think for the most part the decision had been made. I think and I believe this, I believe that Leonard Armato had a plan all along to present things in a way that was going to get Shaq to lean towards leaving. And you could say that was, not right, deceiving Shaq. But I think Leonard saw the bigger picture about Los Angeles, and then I think he fell in love with what Jerry West's view was for Shaq, and therefore they began to present the opportunity in L.A. in such a way that I thought Orlando really was losing its opportunity. However, I also believe this. If Rich DeVos had made it clear from the beginning, it doesn't matter what the cost is. He's not going anywhere. I don't believe he would have left.
Interesting. All right, peace, love, boiled peanuts. I'm out of here early today, guys.
I will do a lot more of football that was. When I come back, I'll throw a scenario to both Austin and Adam that may happen on Saturday and see what they think when it relates to college football next. This is the crew from Rugrats.
Incorrect.
No?
No.
Also, are you too young to be a Rugrats baby growing up?
No,
or?
I loved Rugrats.
You did? Yeah.
Love that show.
Adam?
I know of it. I'm too old. I'm probably too old,
right,
to have been a Rugrats watcher.
Were your kids Rugrats, or they
No,
were? Yeah.
no.
See, mine were. I mean, my daughters are 23 and 25. So if you go back, they were in that Rugrats wheelhouse, right?
I'm just a little bit older than your kids then. Just a little bit.
Okay. By the way, before I get to the college football topic, I wanted to, escape yesterday's criticism as you guys do your Monday show. Somebody whose team lost to another college football team. Shush.
Oh, yeah.
They were down 33 players. 33 players, Minnesota. And they still went to Lincoln and beat his Cornhusker football team, who, by the way, has scored one fourth-quarter touchdown this season.
Yeah.
One fourth-quarter touchdown this season. Yeah, Mike did jump on it yesterday, kind of avoided it. Had all that other stuff going on with the shoe and Mackenzie Milton and all that stuff. And
I really
noticed you
thought
didn't
I was
kinda,
getting away.
Hey, what about Nebraska? What about Nebraska? You kind of let that one go, right?
I did. I let that one slide.
They were down
Just under the
33
radar.
players and still beat you.
Shocking why Mackenzie Milton didn't end up in Nebraska. Not only for your poor pitch, but they're not a winning pro. Well, neither is Florida State.
Florida State's that much better.
Am I correct? In the Champions weekend, did they line up Nebraska and Rutgers this weekend?
They did.
Ooh, I can't wait for that.
They did. Oh.
Is that in Lincoln, or do you get to take the fine trip to Piscataway?
I'm not for sure, actually.
I think you're at Piscataway.
Nice.
We didn't even get home field for this game.
Oh, well, I mean, thank the schedule makers later.
You lose this weekend. I mean, I'm not saying there's a coaching change, but I mean, unless they take out money from the Auburn people, that wouldn't be well, right?
No, that'd be really awful. Oh God!
They should have moved all the chips to the middle of the table on Scott Frost. I mean, what is the next plan? Is Tom Osborne still alive? They can do pull a Bill Snyder.
Wait.
Pull a Bill Snyder.
Listen, this does not have the makings of a good day. Okay,
no.
This is Friday, 4:00 at Piscataway.
Yeah, it is.
Fog, cold, misty rain. I mean, this just has the makings of a bad afternoon. Oh wow!
Taking on Noah Vedral, right?
He got hurt. I don't know if he's going to be able to play. Oh, that's right. The Noah Vedral
storyline.
Right.
Is Arthur Sitkowski still up there at Rutgers?
Tom Savage? No. Anyway. Nebraska at Rutgers.
Man, I really thought I was going to get away with not having to talk Nebraska football.
Oh, my
gosh. Wow. 33 players. Okay, so I want to paint a scenario for both you guys, okay? Let's assume that tonight's college football playoff standings are Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State, Texas A&M, and if the committee's going to hold form, I guess Iowa State 6th and Cincinnati 7th. And then Florida somewhere back, okay? So let's say the committee puts the Gators at 10 or 11, okay? Because I still think they'll have them ahead of Georgia, right? What if the following scenario happens? Ready? Florida beats Alabama comfortably. Let's say by 17.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right? Notre Dame beats Clemson. Whatever the score is, they beat them a second time. And Northwestern beats Ohio State. Who's in the playoff? Because what I just painted to you is the possible scenario of 3 SEC teams.
Okay, so Texas A&M. Well, no. Okay, so Texas A&M would slide. I've said.
I'm just telling you, they're not playing. They're sitting there at 5.
Right, with only one loss.
And if Alabama lost, and Ohio State lost, and Clemson lost. Okay, that's a second loss for Clemson. It's a first loss for Ohio State, but they've been losing to Northwestern. I'm just telling you who gets in. If you believe that Alabama is going to make it regardless, well, then they're 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you do with Texas A&M in the scenario that I just told you?
They've got to be in.
Okay.
My question is, you put Florida in over Clemson, both with 2 losses, but Clemson's only losses would then be to, you said Alabama would lose to Florida. So Clemson's only 2 losses would be to the number 1 team in the country at that point. So it basically would probably come down
now,
to...
you know what Dabo did yesterday, which was defend even if they lost again to Notre Dame. But the argument would be, okay, but you just lost again. And the committee's last view would be if Florida beat Alabama.
Yeah.
And then would you move Florida then back up because they would beat the team that everybody knows is the clear number 1 team? I mean, I was giving you a scenario of 3 SEC teams.
Is that a chance then? Maybe not for 3 SEC teams. Maybe you still get the 2. Florida's still the odd man out. But is that the opportunity to get the non-Power 5 in?
Well, that leads to the thought about Cincinnati. But I'm asking you, image-wise, because you know where I stand in all this, okay? That the committee takes in years of a body of work, not the individual season. Cincinnati's playing Tulsa. Listen, I can sell you on the quality of both teams. I saw them firsthand. But the image across the country is whatever. They just beat Tulsa, and they're 9-0, but it's not the same as beating Alabama in that stage. What do you think the committee would do?
They would. The committee is,
because you're not moving Indiana in.
No.
Okay.
Now it gives anybody who's not wanting to put Ohio State in. Now they're out, and so that clears out some room. Man, I would really.
Why wouldn't Northwestern get in? They only have 1 loss on the year.
I'm just asking you. It's fine. Put whoever you want. I'm just trying to paint the picture for you. Of you tell me what happens.
Well, because I think people are arguing that an undefeated Ohio State doesn't belong in,
right?
And so therefore, the 1 loss in the Big Ten because you played so few games immediately takes you. I listen. I think that would be a scenario. God, I would fingers crossed, hope to God they would put Cincinnati in to sort of open the door for teams that have earned an opportunity.
Because here's the other.
Compete.
Okay. You have the argument for Cincinnati.
Yeah.
You can have the argument for Florida. Okay.
Well, if you're putting Florida in at 2 losses,
okay,
then Texas A&M has to go in with 1 loss and the win over Florida.
And Iowa State would argue if they beat Oklahoma, hang on, we just won the Big 12 championship, and even though we got 2 losses, and then to take your point, Austin, about Northwestern, here's the problem: they're 14th right now. Now, we'll see where the committee puts them tonight if they get favorable treatment and move up, but that would be a heck of a jump.
My brain hurts.
I know, but isn't that fun to think of what... I mean, all these others feel like, oh, it's easy, these 4, and if 4, but no, okay. The curveball is if Northwestern beat Ohio State, which I don't think will happen, but that opens up a lot of crazy scenarios for the committee. Chew on that for a second. We'll come back and dive into that more and some other coaching news in college football when the bridge continues on this Tuesday. Let's pause for station identification. No? Haven't figured it out?
Not yet.
All right.
It's still, wow.
Right.
That's an awful scenario.
Well, the SEC would make an argument to get 3 in. And the committee tonight, in some form, will answer a lot about Florida. How far does Florida drop in the committee's eyes from that game? Because, again, assume the top 5 are the same. Iowa State will move up to 6, Cincinnati 7, Georgia 8. Does Florida fall behind Oklahoma and Indiana, who then would be 9, 10? Do you put Florida at 11? Do you put Coastal ahead of Florida, who's sitting there at 11-0, who was 13th in the committee's numbers last week? I mean, if Florida drops behind so many teams, then even whenever Alabama, it's a tough sell. But let's say they keep them in the top 10. Let's say that, again, it's A&M 5, Iowa State 6, Cincinnati 7. Do you put Florida ahead of Georgia still?
God, listen, I'm just hoping, fingers crossed, that if this a doomsday scenario happens, that this is the opportunity to finally open the door for the non-Power 5 schools. We only have 4 seats at the table. We've always found a reason to not include, but to include 2 lost teams now in what's a short over undefeated teams who've beaten some decent teams, beaten some ranked opponents, done everything you've asked of them. This is the year. I mean, this is the year you invite them in into that scenario. They would have played Notre Dame in the first, but then you'd end up having probably Texas A&M versus Alabama.
Oh, Adam just got to my next series of questions.
Yeah, because then the seeding becomes.
Then how do you handle seeding? Because, do you want to rematch your Florida Alabama? No. But that wouldn't happen because Alabama wouldn't be 1 anymore.
Maybe.
Under the scenario that I painted, Notre Dame would be 1.
Right.
So Notre Dame would be 1. Then who's 2? Because if I just had Clemson lose, if I just said Alabama lose,
Alabama drops to 2, Clemson drops to 3. And
so you keep Clemson despite another loss like that?
Well, no, because now I'm figuring you're getting Texas A&M in. No, so then Alabama slips to 2. We can get Cincinnati in at 3, and then we have to drop, or then Texas A&M slides in there at 4.
Well, doesn't Texas A&M go 3, Cincinnati 4, so you avoid the rematch and stuff like that?
Well, but so if it's Notre Dame 1, then I'd put Texas A&M at 4,
okay.
And then you'd have Alabama and Cincinnati.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
So if I stop and say now,
Alabama likes that deal, by the way.
Do you believe the committee,
no way,
and ESPN would do anything like that?
No, because at the end of the day, like it or not, this is still sort of a made-for-television motion picture of athletic endeavor.
Right. Yeah. Now, again, I think Ohio State will beat Northwestern, but the point that I made yesterday and last week, as you and Mike were talking, and I wrote about yesterday, I talked about yesterday and last week, is the SEC chose to play their games last week and put Florida and Alabama on the field. And, could they have not scheduled them to play? Sure, all sorts of things like that. But the scenario is about Northwestern, Ohio State, and number of games played. And I said, the reason why you play more games and the danger you could lose, like Ohio State found out to Iowa and Purdue in recent years. That's the risk you take by playing more games. And that's what happened to Florida by playing more games. So everybody's wondering, can Florida get back in if they beat Alabama? And I'm just saying, okay, let's add more to that. What if Northwestern beat Ohio State? Which, by the way, they could proudly sit there and go, wait a minute, you're going to leave us out of it? We just beat them, and you changed the rules to let them get in, and now, we beat them and we don't get to dance?
I would think that when we see the rankings, I wouldn't be surprised if Northwestern gets a nice little bump so that at the end of the day, assuming that Ohio State beats Northwestern, it's a better-looking win so that the case can be made a little bit more.
Wait, you're saying a Northwestern bump tonight?
Tonight,
okay,
yes.
But hold on a second. Do you leap? Because here's teams in front. Coastal, Indiana, Oklahoma. Miami's going to fall behind Georgia. They didn't play. I mean, Georgia blew out Missouri. Cincinnati didn't play. So you would just be moving them up for the sake of saying we're moving them up because they beat Illinois.
Yes. Yeah, and you're setting up your conference title game, your Big Ten Conference Championship game between Ohio State, who clearly we're moving in the direction of games be damned, the number of games be damned. We're trying to get this team in.
Right.
That win over Northwestern, what are they ranked right now? What'd you say?
Northwestern was 14 last week.
If they could jump 4 spots, right? Let's say Miami's obviously going to slide behind. So then they got to just jump 3 teams that didn't play last week. That then becomes a top 10 win for Ohio State. And now, really, can we argue? I know that they didn't play a lot of games, but they've got a win over what was a top 10 team in Indiana at the time, and now a second top 10 win over. I think that's what's going to happen. Northwestern will be 10 tonight. That's the only.
Well, that's why tonight's ranking is really interesting. Where's Florida?
Yep.
Where's Northwestern? Does Cincinnati drop because they didn't play? Although around them, it's hard to move anybody up and things like that. So that those are some of the scenarios. And again, it's a moot point if Ohio State beats Northwestern, but that's the one that throws the curveball, because I think most people believe, barring a truly 30 to 40 point blowout, Alabama is going to be fine, even if they lose to Florida. They'll be in the playoffs somewhere. But the one that throws the curveball to everything is if Northwestern beats Ohio State. There's no backup for Ohio State. They lose, they're done. They're not getting into the playoff. And then Dabo can make the argument all he wants, but a second loss to Notre Dame, I don't know. If you can go, well, yeah, but let's still put him in. I don't know.
Put him in with the chance to play Notre Dame the third time.
Right, and then whether you think A&M was a dominant team this year, and I don't. I think A&M was a very good football team, but it'd be hard to tell them they don't belong under all these different scenarios while they're sitting there saying, we lost one game, and we lost to Alabama, and okay, but.
Are we locked in on the idea now after the entire season's gone by and people have pointed to it and discussed it that Ohio State, even now that they've changed the rules to get them into the Big Ten title game, should they win that title game, that when they get inside behind the doors of the committee that they're going to go, we're putting them in?
Oh, yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, I think the committee made that very clear. Gary Bart is the committee chair. He's the Iowa AD, and while he took himself out of the vote to change the rules in the Big Ten, I'm sure Gary made it very clear to his Big Ten brotherhood, hey, they're fine. Let's get them in the game, and if they win, they're going to be in the playoff. I have no doubt that discussion was already presented to the Big Ten.
Remember when people were discussing putting an asterisk by the NBA title this year because of the bubble and all this stuff? If Ohio State were to win the national championship this year, playing substantially fewer games than the teams that they're going to play against, does it cast a little bit of a shadow going, hey, listen, one, they didn't have to go through the physical attrition of a college football season. And, one, you didn't play as many games, so therefore your opportunities to lose were much less to get you in. And then you can make the argument, hey, you're probably fresher. You didn't have to go through the wear and tear. There were X amount of games you didn't play that you could accrue injuries like other teams may had through Alabama was missing.
But I think the argument back would be, let's say Clemson beats Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ohio State wins out, Alabama wins out. Then Ohio State's 3. Their argument back would be, I beat Clemson and Alabama. And you know what? Most of the public would go, yeah, you're right. They beat them. And all of a sudden, we're not going to be arguing about 12 games versus 8, which to me is still part of a valid argument, but I still think it would be, but that's who they beat. And that would be their argument. And that's just part of what crazy 2020's been.
How about the Heisman Trophy? Is that still on the? I guess
got my ballot yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Filled out in pencil or?
No, I didn't fill it out yet. I got the ballot. You can start voting now, which I don't know why anybody would start voting. But
did Trask? It's not like Mac Jones had a great day either. He didn't make any mistakes, but didn't throw any touchdowns. Did Trask take a big step back over the weekend with his performance against LSU in your mind as a voter, or is it something that's still? Do you have a pretty good thought of where you're going?
I'm not one of those guys that takes my Heisman ballot quite serious, Adam.
You're not voting for an offensive lineman because he plays well?
No, but no, it's an offensive statistical award barring a bizarre defensive player's year. But I ever since I got this ballot, I do a running notes every single week and have my own little rankings and measure body work over the course of a year. Trask still has a huge moment on Saturday. I mean, if he plays an incredible game and Florida beats Alabama, I think it takes away any of the negative view that you had of LSU. I think what's really interesting among Heisman voters, because let me give you another scenario, okay? Florida plays Alabama on Saturday. Who's the best athlete in the field?
Was Devontae Smith.
He pulls in 3 touchdowns for 178 yards in that showcase game. Does he pull votes away from Jones that helps anybody else, whether it's Trask or whoever else you want to put in? And that's the problem, I think, is that people have a hard time coming up with a solid list. I can give you guys that had great years, but I wonder, because without giving details of my ballot, the wide receiver playing for Alabama deserves serious consideration to be a Heisman Trophy winner. His numbers are insane, and if you watch Alabama play, don't get me wrong, Jones is really good, but Devontae Smith is special. That is a unique player that is a game changer that makes catches that you see guys playing on Sunday make. Does he take votes away? I I mean, the dude's numbers are ridiculous.
Well, we've seen this happen in years past. The regional voting, and why I said earlier this year when it was Trask and Jones, and then actually at that point Najee Harris was another guy. I wouldn't be surprised to see in the Southeast all these votes split up. And you talk about what Smith's done lately, and then Justin Fields is the only guy. If he can have a big game this weekend, and you look at his numbers at the end of the year and go, well, he's only got X amount of games. If you do that on a per game basis and you do the math on it, maybe he gets all the first place votes up north and in that region, and with all the votes being split down here, it becomes a very close contest for the Heisman Trophy later on. When all the numbers are tabulated.
Listen, I'll give you a guy that's going to try to run up numbers that probably won't win the Heisman, but his numbers are worthy of it, and that's going to be Zach Wilson against UCF next week. I mean, that game is going to get a good audience on TV on a Tuesday night.
And he's for sure going to. I know he said he's going to play. I mean, he's going to play.
He said that he's absolutely committed to play, and I think his statement made some other guys that were thinking about opting out not opting out. By the way, the oldest team in college football. Not even close. I mean, it's just it is. But he's a guy that just because their schedule wasn't as dominant, that people hold that against him. But I mean, Saturday's SEC championship game is obviously important for both teams, but it's also a big Heisman game. I think for three guys, not just two guys. I think Devontae Smith has a huge opportunity if he puts up another monster game where someone's going to be like, that's
two more receiving
He's been in
touchdowns.
my top three the entire year.
Oh, okay.
The entire year.
Yeah, two more touchdown receiving and a punt return for a touchdown like he just had this past weekend. And
you'd have a hard time convincing when I begin to fill that ballot out that he would not be there. It's just, look, it's a quarterback award, so therefore, if you're not a quarterback, you have to be really, really special, and that dude is really, really special. He's something else, man.
You don't set the record in the SEC for touchdown receptions and not be
I was
special.
there when your good friend Chris Doring was asked that by Bianchi last night, and
I've known him many, many years, and that's been.
But here's how kind Chris is. He was doing the math, going, okay, I had a number. He goes, by the time Devontae's on counting the playoffs, he'll shatter it because he may end up with 45 touchdowns, considering he's got 3 games left, 2 and then possibly 2 in the playoffs. So, I mean, you got to appreciate the numbers that are just off the chart. All right, Adam and I come back. We'll wrap up the bridge next.
What are you guys doing? Home of the UCF Night Fan. This is FM 96.9, The Game.
So Tuesday, this is the Double Shot Tuesday in the Beat of Sports. Adam, I think, may like this theme today. Today's Double Shot Tuesday theme are the most played videos in the 80s on MTV. You may be more of a 90s guy.
Probably like right about the
early 80s and the mid 80s, even late 80s when MTV is just rolling. So today, it's Double Shot Tuesday of the most played videos in the 80s on MTV. So really we're asking the audience to kind of guess artist and song.
Okay.
And this, Dire Straits, for obvious reasons, as they use MTV in the lyrics, was a huge song for MTV. They played this thing over and over and over and over. So that's the theme today that people can text at 50857. Try to think of videos that you always saw on MTV back in the 80s.
Oh my gosh! For me, it was who sang Mickey? Oh,
Tony
Mickey.
Basil.
Yeah. What was this? Money for free, money for nothing, something like that.
Straits,
Yeah. This had great animation in it, right? Like little neon lights and stuff.
Yeah, this is a big time.
My favorite MTV video of all time was Run DMC and Aerosmith's "Walk This Way."
Mm-hmm.
Kind of collaborated the rock and the rap sound. And,
Scott's generation, he's a teenager. They don't understand.
Scott doesn't age, by the way.
That in the 80s, my generation, the greatest musical generation ever, was the one that made hit songs because of the video success. Mm-hmm. That if you put out a great video, my generation was so stupid, they didn't even know if the song was good or not. They just equated the video like, oh my God, like that's awesome. Like Duran Duran knew, just put Hot Chicks in your video, and people thought that's the greatest song ever. I was like, no, the song's not really that good.
I mean, Hungry with the Wolf is great.
They don't play any instruments. They're just,
they're there.
But man, the chicks are hot. Rio, oh, it's a great,
Robert Palmer had the same video for all of his songs. Yeah.
And that was my generation. It was like, hey, just cut the video, make it good. So when you say Run DMC and Aerosmith, that was cutting edge because we're combining rock, rap, and then these guys like, wait a minute, what are they doing? And he bust through the wall, and that was it.
Loved it.
That was that generation, the MTV generation that made hits because the video is really good. So that's the theme on Double Shot Tuesday, the most played videos of the 80s. So we'll see. I mean, the audience has to try to guess, and Scott's got the list, and I made his job harder today, but so be it. That's just a way that it is. Anyway, final segment of the bridge before we let Adam go. Mike was off to interview Annika Sorensen today.
I wanted to ask him to ask her, okay, you're in Sweden, right? You're at the best restaurant in all of Sweden. Annika Sorenstam and her family walk up, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic and his family walk up. There's one table left in the restaurant. Who gets the table?
Today?
Yeah.
In Sweden.
In Sweden. I mean, Sweden's top 3-star Michelin-rated restaurant.
I'd like to think that she would get it because she's viewed as royalty. But for those that don't know who Adam's talking about, from a soccer level worldwide, Zlatan's, I don't know.
The host would probably be more afraid of his Latin and his Taekwondo skills.
Well, there's that. There's the fact that you're
going
to be
we can get to a table in just a moment.
Yeah,
wait over here.
You got to be worried that Zlatan's going to be like, I'll blast you on social media if you don't give me a table.
Yeah, that's a good question. Wow. So earlier on the program Open Mic, Jeff Turner was on, and Mike was interviewing Jeff, and he asked Jeff the question about Shaquille and the poll that the Sentinel did years ago, and then Mike had texted me to ask me, I guess, a quote for a column he was writing about that, the impact of the poll. And then I just said to him before, I said, well, I think it was more of Leonard Armado's strategy to get Shaq out of Orlando. And I just showed Adam on my email, which came in at 9:14, and Mike asked me that at 8:35. And what came into my LinkedIn that I should add who to my LinkedIn network? Leonard Armando?
Yeah.
How does that happen? Scott, you want to explain that? The Russians have something to do with that?
That's more complicated than I can get into in the rest
Seriously,
of
how's that
the
happen?
bridge.
Because the mic's
Where do you
on
think
your
he was
computer.
listening?
Yeah, your mics on the computers are on.
It is a little creepy, is it not?
Do you think Leonard's listening?
This happened.
He's been a guest a couple times.
I know. That's what I mean.
No, I don't think he's like,
This
wow,
happens all
let
the
me
time
connect
on
with
your
Mark
phones.
here. Yeah, he's talking about me on Orlando radio and stuff. It's just a little scary that just pops up like that. And you're like,
It happened on my phone, too, because Mike was talking about the McRib sandwich, and then 5 minutes later, I searched for McRib sandwich on my phone. I was so intrigued.
which, as you guys pointed out, some people shocked to realize it doesn't look like that before they put it on the.
I had my first McRib ever last week.
And?
I've experienced it now.
Yeah.
Oh, it didn't get a big thumbs up over there, huh?
No.
From the man that made homemade chili recently.
I did, yeah.
Adam, are you a McRib guy?
So not now. Not now. When I was younger, I actually was. But thank God I grew out of that. Thank God. Thank God I was able to survive.
I've told this story. Scott's heard it before. The first, I was in North Carolina calling a college basketball game, and walked in to get something to eat at McDonald's. And it was when they were so proud they had the big sign that said chicken nuggets, now with real white meat. And I went into the counter and I said, what was it before? And the 15-year-old had to look like, dude, what do you want, man? Okay. What do you want to eat? Okay. What do you mean?
I meant to tell you, dude, you don't want to know. Yeah, you really don't want to know
The sign
this.
says it's made with real white meat. I'm just kind of curious. As of yesterday, what was it? Can you possibly get the manager out here to tell me what was it before yesterday?
What's scary is I came by here yesterday and I loaded up on Chicken McNuggets on the buy one get one free sale you had going on when you're trying to offload all your previous inventory.
Oh, by the way, back to you, Scott. Are you still collecting whatever toy they have?
No, for some reason that contest ended like a week later.
Yeah.
What kind of toy were you trying to get?
They were doing like this Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, the new ride at Disney's Hollywood Studios. They were doing like Disney related kids meal toys.
Oh, and the Happy Meals?
Yeah.
I might have one floating around my backseat of my car. I had the kids last week. That true story.
Yeah, Scott would go up and go, "Hey, I got this one. Can I have another one?" And
no, I wouldn't do that.
No, you would just play potluck. What's in the bag?
Yeah, that's the game.
You don't
of kids
ask
meals.
for this.
No.
Oh my God! You walk up.
You don't ask for that.
First of all, you can walk up there with $5, and the kid behind it would give you any and all of them.
You don't like doing that?
It's too much interaction. No, I get uncomfortable with stuff like that.
You wouldn't go up and say like, "Can I get the Donald Duck one?"
No.
You feel uncomfortable as a grown man walking up to the front asking for the kids' toys?
Yes.
I don't understand why.
Grown man's a loose term there, but you went drive-through, right?
Yeah, of course I went.
It's only interacting with one person.
Mark, I told you I went.
It's like a megaphone. The old man's looking for a Donald Duck.
Yeah, when you have to ask the question, you're not even face to face. That's the best place to do it.
I went drive-through, Mark. I mobile ordered. All I had to do was tell them a code. I didn't even have to say anything.
Yeah, but you could type notes into those things, can't you? Hey, by the way,
I don't think so.
If you've got a Goofy.
Yeah,
I wanted the Donald. That's the thing.
Never got it, huh?
Well, they ended the contest.
Have you gone like on eBay now to purchase it for like $800 or something?
No.
What's the one that nobody could get?
I don't know because it only lasted a week.
How many different ones were there?
I think 7.
And you got how many?
1, because then it ended.
Oh. Thought it was like something big. That was the hard to get one that nobody can get their hands on.
It's like watching the documentary Millions, except for
what a great
Donald. Oh, it was great. Oh, it was fantastic. You're like sitting there going, like, why can't I be in?
I loved it.
Why can't I have one of those jobs where I'm in charge of the really